like button blue. Sub if you new. Hey, what it do? Make the like button blue. Sub if you new.
Hello, salutations. What it do? It's Sadot the Gamer, all father do rag and know the vibes, like subscribe. Let's get it. Happy Tuesday, Durag Nation. We are back once again. Haven't seen some of y'all since last night. Appreciate y'all for hanging out at CES 2024. As promised, we are back once again for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. It is a very special day for fans of the game. First ever hands-on gameplay impressions are going to be dropping shortly. What's up, everybody? We got Lucky Ray. What's up, Zeke? What's up, Josh Slayer? What it do, Nick? Travis in the building. Sony event, unless you're excited about live action God of War, Horizon Forbidden West, or Legend of Zelda, or you're in the market for a car that you can drive with your PlayStation 5 controller, nothing much happened yesterday. Wonder how many times they're gonna get called meat riders or shells today. A lot of times, 100%. What's up, Nate Clips? So, as some of you know, certain content creators were flown out in early December. My podcast partner, Jay Shockblast, is one of them. Definitely go subscribe to that podcast, by the way, because we're going to be talking about Suicide Squad and more this Friday. Now that he's going to be allowed to actually talk about his experience. So make sure you go over there. Link is in the chat. Subscribe. We're like almost at 1,000 subscribers, or like less. We're like almost 100 away. So definitely go subscribe over there. We're going to be talking about a lot of Suicide Squad stuff now that we can pull the curtain back, starting in about 10 minutes. Speaking of Jay Shockblast, glad to see that you finally finished your video. This boy, he was editing like all night. I know he was going to make it. But yeah, all the creators who got flown out to try out the game are going to drop new videos. They're going to be giving their thoughts, showing off some new gameplay. And that does not apply to the people who played the closed alpha. That's a different thing. This embargo lifting is for the people who got to actually fly out to the studio and play the game. This isn't for the people who played the closed alpha. It's going to be a different vibe, different experience. So if you're one of the people who were invited to the closed alpha, like me, but who weren't invited to the Rocksteady hands-on gameplay preview, you still, as far as I know, can't talk about your experience playing the game because of the NDA. Glad to see it's done. Now, I think Jay said his is coming out in like a couple hours. The embargo lifts in about 8 minutes, but everybody isn't going to be posting at the same time. I know Lejeune said he was going to post his a little bit later. I think Jay is going to do the same, because you know how it is when embargoes lift, everybody kind of posts their stuff all at the same time. So Jay, all right, Jay, you're setting your premiere to 10. So Jay is setting his premiere to 10. So at 10, we'll react to Jay send people over there. So right now, we'll probably look at Game Informer. We'll look at who else drops their coverage. I'm curious what the media is going to say. But yeah, definitely go subscribe to J Shock Blast right now. Set a reminder for that 10 a.m. premiere. But yeah, I'm curious what the media is going to give their impressions on when it comes to this game once they actually get to play it, because that's going to be a potentially interesting story. Because if Suicide Squad is sitting at like a 85 or something on Metacritic, that's going to be pretty interesting. Because especially because of all the hate the game got. So I'm very interested to see to get an idea of kind of what the meta is going to be in terms of the games journalists. 10 a.m. is good. Sometimes when I do stuff, what I like to do is if I'm going to premiere a video, I'll do it on like off time, because when you schedule videos, pretty much most YouTubers schedule at the exact same times. Like they look at the default and be like, okay, 9:30, 10, 10:45, whatever, like that. So I'll try to schedule videos at like odder times, like a 9:13 or 10:51, stuff like just a little off time to kind of not get lost in those notifications, because I know most YouTubers are only going to use the default scheduling times on YouTube. I don't know when Caboose is posting his. Caboose usually just goes right on the embargo time, so I expect Caboose's to be up at 9. No way it scores lower than Avengers. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's going to definitely score higher than Avengers, as long as there aren't any like major performance issues. It kind of has to score higher than Avengers. Most of the games journalists are people who don't even have the trophies to clear the tutorial. That's not fair. They definitely at least clear the tutorial. They don't finish the games, but for sure. But that's kind of the nature of game reviews. Like, especially if you're a reviewer who works at an outlet and you get a lot of games coming across your desk. Because the other problem is that every game company doesn't give you like games in a timely manner. Like, you got to keep that in mind. Ideally, you would have like a couple weeks when someone sends you a game to like go through it and get everything going. But some game companies will literally give you a game with like a couple days notice. It's like, oh, the embargo is like in 3 days, have fun. So it can like get kind of crazy. Didn't really experience any bugs. Seemed smooth, just skill issues. Has Suicide Squad gone gold yet? I don't remember seeing if it has. I can ask one of the devs, but I wouldn't know because, Rocksteady haven't been posting on Twitter, but one of the devs would definitely know. I'll ask one of them. Marvel's Avengers, funny enough, Marvel's Avengers premiered when it launched, had like a score of like 7.5. I think since then it's dropped to like a 6. But I remember seeing like 7.5 was like the consensus when Avengers first launched, because people genuinely, it was kind of like, okay, the story is decent, all this looter stuff over here, not very good, whatever, but they like the campaign. That was before like things got like real bad. Will I join your petition to get Black Manta added to the game? Uh, I'll I'll ask some devs directly. I'll send it right to them. I would love to play as Black Manta in Suicide Squad. I'll literally bring that directly to Rocksteady developers. That is a good suggestion for a character. Let me guess, same situation as Avengers. Depends on what you mean. Avengers. So it's getting the only similarities here with Avengers is that before Avengers came out, Avengers had a ton of hype. A ton of hype. It was one of the most anticipated games of the last 5 years. Suicide Squad is currently getting the hate that Avengers got after Avengers already came out, had its life cycle and everything like that. People are assuming Suicide Squad is going to be just like Avengers, even though so far Suicide Squad seems to have specifically studied Avengers and what it did wrong, and then did the exact opposite. Actually like how Rocksteady devs are talking a lot with the community. Oh, for sure. Yeah, they're showing everybody a lot of love. It's always good to see developers that are actually passionate about the game that they're working on and willing to just interact with people. Especially, you know, on Twitter, because you know how Twitter can get. when you're putting yourself out there, you're opening yourself up to a lot of nonsense. So good for them for, you know, being on the front lines. Black Manta, Killer Cross, Peacemaker, ones you want. Red Hood, yeah, Peacemaker. So we're definitely getting a Frost-like playable character, but Peacemaker would be for sure dope. I haven't heard anything about Peacemaker, but I hope they add Peacemaker. All right, so it's 9 o'clock. Jay Shockblast is legally allowed to talk about his experience with the Suicide Squad Kill Justice League, as is everyone who got to play the game at that event. Right now, I'm just trying to refresh. Why is this not working? Trying to see who posted first. We'll check out Game Informer. We'll check out Caboose. The Game Informer. They didn't post yet. Let me just filter by Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Today. All right. IGN. Let's start with IGN. They got right. Holy. I know IGN was there. The jewels up. So, spoiler alert. IGN didn't like it. Holy. IGN just came right out with it. Like we did not like. So they dropped a 9-minute review / impression. If you're watching a hands-on impression video, there are always going to be spoilers. You're not allowed to do major story spoilers. But if you're trying to not have any spoilers, you're in the wrong place. If you don't want to know anything about the game and the story. All right, let's check out this IGN review.
Harley, no!
Worth it.
The best part of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League after playing it for a few hours is the story, and yes, it certainly seems like you will be killing characters you know and love.
Hey, your face always looks so... what?
Lots of death happening here. That's also a big part of the problem I have with the entire premise. I can't help but shake that there's no way Rocksteady is going to let any of this stick. Our heroes have done terrible things. There will be a time reversal mechanic or some
IGN in the same as you said too much water
that comes along and washes away all of the terrible awfulness that happens during the story.
IGN gave Spider-Man 8 out of 10, so don't rush to
From enslaving a child form of Poison Ivy to straight up watching your heroes murder people, there's a lot here to make you feel a bit uncomfortable about the journey you're being taken on.
I can say that I have never ever taken an IGN review seriously and allowed it to shape my opinion on the game.
Disconnect with game mechanics straight out of the likes of Destiny, Anthem, or Marvel's Avengers, I'm left worried about the final product coming together in a way that works. The fun just wasn't there for me, at least not yet. Let me explain in more detail. The story has its fun moments, yes, and the team banter, at least during the cutscenes, is when Kill the Justice League is at its best.
Awesome.
Aw, he's so sweet. He's not gonna make it.
The cutscenes have clearly been given a lot of love. Meanwhile, the character models
I
are
didn't
great,
get
the voice acting is
Elden
great,
Dogwater a 10.
and there are a lot of moments where I genuinely laugh thinking this could be enough to carry me through the messy and tired open world missions. While they could reverse time to fix the morality
What's up, Blazin? We've only been streaming for a few minutes now in terms of their impressions.
Free updates. That means we'll be stuck with the terrible things that transpire, and if the name sticks, stuck with a dead Justice League. At one point,
so we're just watching
puts a
reacting right
bomb
now.
in the head of Poison Ivy, who just happens to be a child. But hey, they punch Boomerang for putting a bomb in her head. So let's move on from that whole enslaving a child thing.
Okay, let's not go over the top. First of all, Ivy, the whole thing about Ivy is that she could just resurrect herself. like she resurrected herself from the Arkham events, and Lex Luthor was raising her. Let's not get carried away here.
I get it's Poison
She's
Ivy
also
and
a
this is
supervillain.
kind of Waller's thing, but I'm using it to illustrate a point. All of these things in one package feels like an odd mix. Rocksteady had a winning formula with the Batman games.
So that's what it is.
Trying to write a completely new book, but
He-
so far,
he's an Arkham
lightning
fan.
is not in this bottle. A live service game from Rocksteady is not what I had on my wish list this year. The team is single-handedly responsible for making some of the best combat I have ever experienced. The Predator sections in the Arkham series also
early
allow you to
access starts on the
tackle them with
30th.
stealth or brute force, adding further flavor and variety to Bruce Wayne's vigilantism. To this day, in fact, you can find ridiculous takedown montages on YouTube.
Bro is
and
really
TikTok
standing
for
Arkham right
Batman
now.
Arkham Knight. Unfortunately for Suicide Squad, once the fun
What's up,
story
Captain?
does end, you're left with a much less inspired combat system and an open world that's filled with tedious tasks that are more about grinding through traditional tropes like point defense or collect the material and turn it in. There are shining moments with the combat, such as the powerful feeling of takedowns, and there does seem to be some depth to the build variety, but you'll do it surrounded by teammates who won't shut up with their quips, which quickly becomes annoying.
Feels
Can
good
we
to be an
start?
apex
I might
predator.
look chill, but that's just my UX.
Oh no,
design.
not
Sometimes
banter.
it's to the point that you'll get 2 to 3 lines of dialogue overlapping while you're just waiting for your crew at a checkpoint. And when the combat does start, it has its fun moments, but it also has weird issues like long animations to regen your shield, or you'll get knocked out of an animation for unclear reasons.
Sounds like
I
a
thought
skill
it was
issue.
just me, but it also happens in this provided footage straight from WB. While we have this provided boss fight footage,
He
against
literally
the
just got hit with an
Boomerang,
attack.
I just want to mention that I
What do you
found this
mean?
fight incredibly annoying. There's no indication of where the Flash is most times, and he's the Scarlet Speedster, so he's just constantly zipping around the map. That didn't make the fight hard, it just made it frustrating. You get
Hold up. First of all, bro is actually complaining that he got knocked out of an animation for no reason, and then you literally see him get hit with with an explosion. That's what knocked you out of the animation. What do you mean? Also, is he complaining that he's having a hard time tracking the Flash? Oh, what? I'm trying to fight the Flash and he keeps moving around, damn it. Like, yeah, he's the Flash. What do you mean? Like, yeah. What do you of course you're having a hard time tracking the Flash. He's the Flash. What do you mean? What do you mean? Yeah. Bro. Shout out to Lejeune, man. IGN, bro. Bro, IGN reviews are crazy, bro. Ain't no way. Ain't no way, bro.
a handful of shots on him before he teleports to the next location, so you're just trying to chase him down or catch him standing in one spot long enough to get hits in before he does it all again. I do wish there was a bit of a he's down, get him moment, but unfortunately it seems like that trope wasn't used here. Now, WB also sent over some footage of an experienced Shark player wrecking shop, so I'll include some footage of their gameplay in this video preview to show what it looks like.
Can't take
when
any
someone has
idea.
played for hundreds of
Review
hours
seriously.
versus a couple
Facts,
of
bro.
hours at a
This is
preview
just
event.
comedy. There is. So this was clearly a review from a person
In the
who
open world, however, missions
doesn't
tend
like
to favor
live service
many of the
games,
tired and
doesn't like
stereotyped,
looters,
which makes them feel a bit
and
like
is really
uninspired
bad at the game.
filler. Like, stop me if you've heard this one before. You defend a point from waves of enemies that
You're afraid to
spawn.
sound like this.
Sound familiar? Now imagine every time you defeat a handful of these enemies, you just stand around waiting with nothing to do. This was exactly what happened during one of the core story missions, and the padding feels completely unnecessary. When the next quest started, I stood there while Amanda Waller called my character on comms and bantered with Poison Ivy before sending me back to the other end of the map to save citizens in a flying bus that looked like it's straight out of Fortnite.
I hate this Task Force X.
At least
What? It's a bus.
in a flying bus that looked like it's straight out of Fortnite.
It's literally a bus. What do you mean? Oh, what? It's a bus. So did he actually, not only did he just complain about the game giving him instructions on what to do next and him having to travel across, did he actually just complain about having to listen to instructions about the next objective and then having to travel across the map to get there in an open world game? And what is a Fortnite bus? What do you mean? It's a bus. What is this review?
I hate this Task Force X.
At least the Riddler puzzles are making a return from the Arkham games, bringing at least one familiar fun activity.
Of course he likes. Of course he likes the Riddler puzzles. How did I know he was going to like the Riddler puzzles?
At least I hope they're fun because I didn't actually get to solve any of them. The potential saving grace for all my gripes could be that the whole combat system comes together a lot better when you get to sit down and actually make a build.
We brought in gamers to demo the latest Cyberpunk update.
Yes, can confirm you can make a build and it's fun.
To do right away at the preview event. For some context, we started playing through the same tutorial from the beta and picking a character, Deadshot in my case.
Yes.
After that, we jumped straight
You
into
can in
chapter
fact
3
make a
where I
build
tried out Shark
in
because
the looter
character
shooter.
I had been playing on was taken. What I didn't realize was that chapter 3 gives you complete build control, and having played on a different class, it took me a bit of our session to get warmed up to the new movement mechanic.
Also, FYI, you could make a build. Jay was literally talking about how they were describing different builds and giving people that were flown out different build options that they could explore and look at for specific missions. He just wasn't paying attention, or he's doing this on purpose. Yes, you can do builds in the looter. What do you mean? Did he not even what was he doing the whole time? Shout out to Lucky Ray for the 24 months. IGN where you can't hit the fastest man alive. Bro, this is the
Next, Shark has compared to Deadshot.
This
If we
review was
look back at
comedy.
that provided Flash gameplay, it looks like the player has a good grasp at movement, but it all comes back to similar core mechanics. Aim gun, shoot gun, and those core mechanics in a game like Destiny really save it. Here, it just feels samey across the board.
Aim gun,
even
shoot
with
gun.
each character's abilities sprinkled in. I didn't really get time to look at my gear
It's
stats
too-
and throw something together.
Just like
to
that's
try out,
it's great in
but I
Destiny.
did try a build recommendation from Jack Hackett, production manager at Rocksteady, but again, I didn't really have enough time to get used to how it's supposed to flow together. However,
I
his
love
excitement
aiming my
about
gun
the
and shooting at
possibilities
Destiny.
does continue to give me a
But
good
in this
rub.
game, no.
To give you a taste of what you'll be looking at in terms of complexity, there are weapon afflictions that attach an elemental effect
up, Deladia?
to weapons like Deep Freeze that does cold damage for a period of time. Penguin will let you craft new weapons, shield mods, traversal mods, or grenades.
You
there are
just
some
described all
interesting
of
guns
COD.
here, like Bugs a Poppin' that will not do damage to a Terminaut, but will slow down every enemy within 10 meters. And there was this one slot machine grenade that was also pretty fun. Each character also has a skill tree.
We'll
they can
look at
upgrade,
it.
and
next
all of that
video,
is on
we'll look
top
at
of
someone
weapons and mods that work together
who
to
actually
give you
knows what they're
massive
doing.
buffs when you pair, say, two gizmo gear pieces together to do more burning damage, but with the trade-off that grenades do 50% less damage, but have a 100% chance to burn all enemies. I know I've been really hard on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League in this preview, and believe me, I really want to be wrong about it. Not only is Rocksteady one of my favorite developers, but this genre is one I've spent far too much time in across Destiny, Anthem, and yes, even Marvel's Avengers. But while there is a story here that makes me wonder where the heck it's all going, I left the preview even less optimistic than when I came in. Here's hoping Suicide Squad wins me back when it releases on February 2nd. Are you excited about Suicide Squad? Let me know why in the comments below. And for more,
Not the Fortnite. I don't know. As soon as he saw that Fortnite bus, he never recovered. Apparently, that was a wild review. that review was insane. All right, who did Lejeune post his? I think Jay mentioned Lejeune might have posted his. I want to check out Lejeune's review since he's like an actual gearhead. Like he'll break it down from like an actual looter perspective. 10 out of 10 because of Flash comment. Bro, IGN is comedy, bro. IGN is actual comedy. I love it. Jay's is at 10. Let's see, Lejeune. There we go. Lejeune. We're going to do Lejeune's next. Let me first drop your socials. So Lejeune just posted his. It'd be hilarious if Lejeune had the same thing. I played Suicide Squad. I hated it. We'll check out Caboose, see if he posts it after this. I have a feeling Caboose isn't going to like it. I don't know. I just get a vibe.
Here now we back in with another video. Now you see on the title of today's video, yes, I got to play Suicide Squad early.
Shout out to Lejeune.
A lot to talk about. Now I want to give a quick shout out to WB Games for actually providing me travel and being able to play Suicide Squad early. So shout out to y'all. But I have to say, I literally
shout out to Lejeune. Got to fly on that private jet with Jay Shotglass. Eat a nice dinner.
spoke this into existence, y'all. If I get a lucky chance to actually play the game early, I'm going to make sure I provide as much feedback as I can. It's such a crazy thing.
He really spoke it into existence.
Watching for the longest and just being able to talk to the developers of the game and everything. It was such a wild experience. But without further ado, let's get into my impressions. Let's talk about the good and the bad. Let's get into it.
This is where the fun begins.
So for the first segment that we're going to be talking about is what
editing.
People all care about the most is the story. I'm going to talk about what I got to experience so far from the story itself, from what we got to play. So let's get into that first. Now I do want to apologize that I will be looking at my phone here and there because I wrote every single thing down, every detail that I got to experience when I was there. So when I record this video, I don't miss a single detail. So let's get
Bro
into
was
it.
taking notes.
So the first thing is that the build that we got to play on was a month old. So everything that we got to experience in this one was not going to be in the final build. Of course, it happens as
a month-old build.
But I do have to say, from
okay,
what we played, it ran
19 inches in the background. Yes, sir.
To no frame drops. Of course, it ran into like little glitches, but of course, it's an old build, so it's going to happen. And they did state that the things that we got to experience was already fixed. So it's not a big deal if we're going to be perfectly honest. But I do have to say, we did play the intro. We played a little bit of chapter 1, and then we got skipped all the way to chapter 3. So we were put in the beginning of chapter 3, where we actually got to meet, spoiler, I'm just putting a spoiler right here. We already
spoiler
Insider episode 2, but we got to see Poison Ivy.
Oh yeah, that's not even a spoiler anymore.
Say the reincarnation of Poison Ivy. But I do have to say the cinematics and the delivery from the voice actors for the Suicide Squad are very, very on point. I actually caught myself laughing a few times with some of the dialogue between King Shark, Harley Quinn, Deadshot, and Captain Boomerang. They are actually funny, and some of the jokes really hit. I was playing with a few content creators, shout out to Comic Storian and Dane Falcon. There were some times we actually were really laughing at some of the things that they were saying because it actually hit, and it was pretty funny, and it really did what it had to do. Now, at a certain moment in chapter 3, where we actually had to find Lex, and Lex set up a trap for the Justice League. And of course, with the Suicide Squad being on site, they actually fell into the trap where they were frozen in place, and they all got trapped except Harley. And Harley, being the crazy one in the group, she was actually looking at Deadshot, and Deadshot told her, "Do not touch me. We will all be trapped if you touch me." And know how crazy Harley Quinn is. She actually goes on to touch Deadshot.
Classic
and
Harley.
Literally gets them all trapped. It is super funny. Like, look at this scene right here.
Hello, swag. Yet again, your feeble upper body strength betrays you, Boomerang.
Shark, hold up. It's a
Samoa Joe. Shout out to Samoa Joe.
Harley. Get us out of this. What? Harley, do not touch us.
But you saying I can't really makes me want to, you know?
No.
Harley, no!
Worth it.
That's his butt. It would have been funnier if you didn't explain the scene. But shout out to Harley with the casual sexual harassment.
One of you at most.
Lex, we've been known to exceed expectations.
Surrender.
Harley is built different.
Outnumbered and outgunned.
My. I could use an army of you.
Hashtag him too is crazy.
Seems you all have that in common. Tell Waller.
Harley about to get.
Stay out of my way.
Harley is already getting canceled on Twitter because of the Poison Ivy thing.
Excuse me, my plan to neutralize the Justice League.
Now she just assaulted Deadshot.
I'm going to enjoy this.
Now, you see what I mean? Harley is...
Look at that Trick's ridiculous glow up.
Just overall, that cutscene, it really matched the energy of what the Suicide Squad actually is. It just matches their humor. But I do have to say...
If you'll excuse me.
No, hold up. No cap though. Why does Lex Luthor in this game look like Trick's ridiculous without the facial hair? Yo, he definitely looks like Trick's ridiculous. Dang. Trick's ridiculous took a trip to Metropolis, out here capturing the Suicide Squad. Shout out to Trick's ridiculous.
My plan to neutralize the Justice League starts now. I'm going to enjoy this.
Now, you see what I mean? Harley is pretty crazy. And just overall, that cutscene, it really matched the energy of what the Suicide Squad actually is.
Shout out to
It just
Stitch.
matches their humor. But I do have to say, from the story so far, what I got to experience with Chapter 1 and Chapter 3, it seemed like it's going to be a fun ride. It's going to have those moments where it's actually get emotional, sad, funny, and just upbeat. So I'm pretty excited to see what they do when it comes to the story overall, when it comes to the game. Now, since that is over, let's get on to the game.
Is the game crossplay? Yes.
Get on to the gameplay segment. Now, when it comes to gameplay, this is something I'm very critical on, because when it comes to gameplay, that is...
What about Kevin Conroy? What about him?
Playing and also coming back for the new characters that they will be releasing. So
He is not alive. Rest in power to Kevin Conroy.
Squad at the event. It was very smooth. I have to give them that. The gunplay and using the characters' abilities, it all ran smoothly, to be honest. I really had to give them that. Now, I did play co-op with Comic Storian and Dane Falcon. I will have their channel links on the screen, but Comic Storian was playing as Captain Boomerang and Dane was playing as Harley Quinn.
Comic Storian with the correct, main.
Game, but he was playing as Deadshot. But if you guys want to check out the perspective,
Captain Boomerang, the best character.
Harley Quinn, check out the channel links below for Comic Storian and Dane Falcon. But so far, I have to say the gameplay was very smooth. Now, of course, with me, I was playing as King Shark. That's going to be my main.
Of course.
So mainly what I'm going to be talking about.
He's basically the closest to the Hulk.
Experience with him so far. Now, I do have to say his traversal is very, very good. Just from the base level of his traversal, it is really good already. And the thing is, you can already travel far distances with his apex pounce and his jump that he could do.
Marvel's Avengers could never
travel even further and jump even higher with it.
Marvel's Avengers could never,
which is insane to think about because traversal is probably like the main thing that they have really focused on, trying to drive that point that traversal will be a big part of this game, which it really is. So that is something that they really mastered when it comes to these characters. I have to give them that, no lie. Now, when it comes to his two abilities,
Rip Hulk mains.
Strike, which is a powerful single target attack.
Boomerangs is the best, correct.
It has some cool animations along with it. And he also has his Atlantean drop, which is basically like a dive bomb, which if the enemies that are caught in the area, they will get hit really hard and probably bounce up into the sky. You guys will see the gameplay when it comes down to the Suicide Strike and the Atlantean drop, but those are some very good abilities for King Shark. Now, when it comes to King Shark's skill tree, it seems like he's more offensive / defensive when it comes to how he plays, because in his skill tree, when it comes to the defense, he basically has it where he puts an aura around himself where enemies does less.
See the difference between the review of Lejeune literally sitting in his bedroom and the reporter who works for IGN, the multi-million-dollar corporation. See how he's actually breaking down the game and the combat on its own merits as the type of game that it is, like a looter shooter. He's explaining how a certain character plays, how to utilize their skills. Seems like he had plenty of time to do all of that. But but all the IGN dude had time to do was what? Hang around the Fortnite bus? Like what are we doing here, bro?
Less damage to him, and they also take more damage from you and your allies. And it's pretty cool. And he has another one when it comes to his offensive tree, where he basically does more damage with his Atlantean drop, and you can also get it back super fast. Like I do a grenade at like 4 enemies and I got my Atlantean drop back instantly. Like it's crazy how fast I got my abilities back when it comes to King Shark using his stuff. So it seemed like he's going to be more of the ability based type character, which is understandable because let's be
Caboose
real,
is out.
he is
All right, I'll
the
check out
most
Caboose.
character in the Suicide Squad when it comes to how he operates, since he is from Atlantis. So it's totally understandable that it is like that when it comes to him. Now, speaking about him being ability based, when it comes to his perks, it seems like they really mix well when it comes to his abilities, because they have one where once he does his Atlantean drop, basically all the enemies that don't die from it become shield harvest. And we already know when it comes to shield harvest, you can over extendulate your shield, basically giving you an over shield, so you can take way more damage and just stay in the battlefield. You can do that and just keep overcharging your shield so you can just stay in the fight, being that tank of the group. So it is pretty cool the way they got it mixed. And there's another one when it comes to his melee, where if you defeat a shield harvest enemy, depending on what percentage health they are, the enemies around them take a certain amount of damage from that shield harvest attack that you did. So it is pretty nice. So say for instance, like you do 10k.
He's got some nice perks. Let me see this.
Melee, where if you defeat a shield,
this looks like it's a legendary piece, but it's not one of the villain sets. But it looks like a nice piece.
Enemy, depending on what percentage health they are, the enemies around them take a certain amount of damage from that shield harvest attack that you did. So it is pretty nice. So
he's doing a great job, yeah.
Like you do a 10k shield harvest attack, all the enemies around will take 5k damage, something like that. That's a good example of how that works. And you see how they mix together. Once you do that Atlantean drop, you got enemy shield harvest, and if they're low enough, they're going to take that extra damage from the melee from you doing the shield harvest attack. So it's nice, the mixture between when it comes to his abilities and how they work well with the perks. And while we're speaking about perks, there is this certain grenade which is very special. It's called a bang grenade. Now,
yeah. Oh, he got that.
More damage and increase the radius of it by 100%. And the only thing about it,
bro, I remember this. One of the Rocksteady devs was talking about this. This grenade is actually crazy. I think I know what he's going to be showing in a minute. But yeah, shout out to Lejeune. Like actually explaining the game instead of complaining about it. Oh, it's not Arkham. It's not Arkham. Like, who cares, bro? Obviously. Shout out to IDK, bro, for the $4.99. Harley is goated. You have to put her over Boomer. Cap. Boomer is the way. Yeah, this is how you do an actual hands-on impression of a game. You explain the actual game and go into details about it instead of whining that it's not a completely different game.
Which makes it so special. You can only hold one grenade of this. You can only hold one because it's super powerful. Now, there's a perk on a gun. Now, I don't know if it's tied to only assault rifles or SMGs, but I know specifically on the assault rifle I had, where if you get a critical hit, or I think as you get headshots, you will spawn a live grenade under an enemy. And the thing is, that grenade that you spawn that will be under an enemy will be the bang grenade. So they mix.
Critical hits spawn a live grenade at the enemy hit. This grenade does an additional 100% more damage. When it explodes, this can only happen once every 30 seconds. That's the bullet propelled grenade legendary assault rifle. So at least they put a restriction on that perk, because that would be insane. Yeah, because that bang grenade basically, I think he's going to show it in a minute. The bang grenade basically looks like a mini nuke when it goes off. Already does crazy damage. So this perk gives you extra damage on it, and it triggers it when you get a critical hit. But it put it on a 30-second cooldown, because obviously that would be pretty insane if you were if you were triggering this every couple seconds
Together when it comes to those two perks. So you could easily just keep spawning a grenade that does 500% more damage and 100% more area radius.
That perk plus bang
hits on enemies, which is super.
Harley has.
When you think about it,
I saw Harley was using it
told me
from one of the devs.
He stated that there is another tier above that makes the damage of the bang grenade go even higher and increase the radius even further. So I ain't gonna lie, they are cooking when it comes to that. So if they already have it where the weapon perks can tie along with the grenade and where your abilities can tie.
Hope IGN eventually just slows away. Facts, bro.
Tie in with the melee. If they already got that mixture well already, then honestly, when it comes to build crafting in this game, it's going to be something special, to be honest. So they are really cooking when it comes to this. So that's pretty much everything so far when it comes to the gameplay segment that I have to talk about. The next thing I will be talking about is the new features that will be coming along with Suicide Squad that probably nobody knows about until now. Let's get into it. All right, so when it comes to the new features that will be coming along in Suicide Squad that is already in the game, now we have flying cars. Now I really wish they could have got our reaction to seeing this for the first time, because it was so random.
Oh, they got the actual vehicles.
They told us to go to this
vehicle gameplay,
and once we got to it, we was like, like, what's going on?
Didn't put this in the IGN review.
We saw cars just spawning out of nowhere, and we could fly. We was like, whoa, that is crazy. Because like when you look at Suicide Squad, you didn't
even mention this
like, oh,
in the IGN review.
You don't think of that. Like, it's crazy the fact that they did that, and it's going to open up some brand new opportunities. If
this isn't proof IGN is trash, I don't know what is.
Actually fly around. If they have a way we can fly around in a Batmobile, that would be crazy. That would be actually crazy, low key. I would like to see that, to be honest. But they do have it in a vehicle where you can actually get your teammates.
The fact that they wasted a spot
so you both could be just
on IGN
doing what you do. But the thing
is crazy.
It can explode, so you can either let it explode and destroy itself, or you can sit there.
They're gonna send any other creator out there,
do the explosion and just hit the enemies to get them out the way. So there's two different ways you could do that, and I have to say the flying vehicles do feel smooth, so they really did their thing when it comes to that. So for the next thing we do have is pretty big. This is pretty big when it comes to the grinders and people that don't have enough time to grind.
IGN's dog water. Facts.
It's playing Suicide Squad and you're not online and you can't play for right now. They can actually pull your character in with them, do any type of activities or missions that give them rewards and gear and all that. And once you log back in, all the gear and rewards that your character did, while they were playing with your friend, while you wasn't playing, they will have the rewards sitting in your inventory.
Whoa.
you could basically have it set up where your friend can just play all night, all day long, and all the gear that they get for your character. And once you log in, you will have all of that. And you never know. You could possibly end up getting a god roll weapon, a god roll, gear piece or something.
Hold up. You can essentially grind for somebody else. Wait a minute. You can actually grind for somebody else. You can join in, leave, and have someone else playing and grinding with your character. And when you log back in, you'll get it. Like, what? Hold up. Hold up.
Your friend can just play all and gear and all that. And once you log back in, so for the next thing we do have is pretty big. This is pretty big when it comes to the grinders and people that don't have enough time to grind. They have it set up where if your friend is playing Suicide Squad and you're not online and you can't play for right now, they can actually pull your character in with them, do any type of activities or missions that give them rewards and gear and all that. And once you log back in, all the gear and rewards that your character did.
So if literally they're just offline, you can, because I know you can join and have friends within the game. So you can basically just go on, pull your friend into the session, even if they're offline, and grind for them. and then any rewards that you all picked up, they'll get when they log in. That's crazy. That's actually crazy.
That your character did while they were playing with your friend, while you wasn't playing.
I didn't even know about this feature.
Sitting in your inventory. So you could basically have it set up where your friend can just play all night, all day long, and all the gear that they get for your character. And once you log in, you will have all of that.
No, that's nuts.
You never know. You could possibly end up getting a god roll weapon, a god roll, gear piece or something like that.
That's an amazing feature.
Also built specifically for you and well for you as well. So I like the fact that they did that.
This is going to be addiction. You see it already.
I know there's some people that don't have enough time to play games here and there. And the fact that your friends can pull your character in and get rewards for you while you're not playing,
I'm gonna need y'all to pull my character in.
I have to get them that.
when I'm streaming,
and another thing is
something else, or when I'm busy.
After mission summary, so you can see who was doing the most objectives, who was doing the most damage, who was getting the most kills, and all that good stuff. So it can create some competition.
Love this feature. I remember people wanting this feature in Marvel's Avengers, like an after mission report, so that you can see who got the most kills, who did the most damage, and everything like that. Just a little friendly competition, so you could style on your friends to let them know who's got the best build. So they got that confirmed in there. Love that. Love to see it.
Competition between you and your friends and all that good stuff. So it is nice.
What's up, Quay? Welcome.
You could just really, get that competitive side with your friends.
They are cooking.
Mess around and joke around and stuff like that. Now, I can say it could possibly get toxic if you're playing with people online and they like super, super sweaty and just want to, bloat and all that. But then again, it really depends on how you really go about it. Because if you're playing with your friends, and you see your friend got something hard, then they go joke around, and you know how it goes.
Oh, me and my friends are the most toxic to each other.
So that's another thing to have.
We're way more toxic than randoms.
Another thing we do have is another tier above legendary, which is called Notorious, which is villain themed weapons.
The Notorious.
Now these are themed after some of the villains that we got to see. Now the ones I know so far that we actually got to see while we were playing, we saw Black Mask, we saw
Black Mask, Bizarro,
Two-Face, General Zod, Lex, and the Penguin. Now, the
Ooh.
one you're seeing on screen right now is the Black Mask villain set. Now, this basically states that each enemy you hit with this firearm receives the Black Mask mark. Applying a Black Mask mark to 3 different enemies within 6 seconds causes all marked enemies to trigger a fire explosion that burns nearby enemies. So let's say, for instance, you apply the Black Mask mark to 3 enemies, and that one enemy is around like a group of 5 enemies. Those 5 enemies will get hit.
Oh,
with the
that's
burn
really
status,
good.
and they will take damage and have that burn status on them.
That's a great perk.
I remember in the Insider episode 2 for
IGN would
they
never.
said for King Shark, if once you apply the burn status on enemies, you will get like a little buff that will make you vulnerable to damage for a certain amount of seconds. I can't remember specifically, but I know they said it in there. Once you apply the burn status, you will get a shield that basically makes you invulnerable for a certain amount of time.
So confirmed villain sets so far that Lejeune saw, at least, were Black Mask. I think he said Black Mask, Zod, Two-Face, and I know there's a Mr. Freeze, and I know there's a Bane one as well, and he mentioned specifically Penguin. But I've seen Mr. Freeze, and I've seen Bane as well, and Bizarro. So far, the notorious sets: Penguin, Zod, Bizarro, Black Mask, Bane. This is getting interesting. Mr. Freeze. This is okay. I see what they're doing.
This will mix super well into that for King Shark. And this is what I've been stating. The way they have these perks and
you want a Scarecrow run? That would be crazy.
To create certain builds, the build crafting is going to be insane when it comes to this game. And I cannot wait to really see how everything goes down.
GCPD and LexCorp. There is LexCorp, yeah.
We know that's coming to Suicide Squad. But
there might be GCPD. I know there's definitely LexCorp.
All right, so for one negative I do have to talk about so far is probably the boss fight. That's probably going to be something that people don't like the most, because overall, from the first boss fight we got to experience was the Flash. He is the first boss we fight, and the whole premise about it, all you really have to do is
Hugo Strange was shown
and make sure you hit the right Flash. And once you get later into the boss fight, he starts to spawn after images of himself that start to do Speed Force Kamehamehas, and it'd be like 3 or 4 of them on the map, and you don't know which one is the right Flash, so you have to hit the shot on the right Flash to actually do damage to him. And then if you don't do the right Flash, you will get hit by the Speed Force Kamehamehas from the Flash. Then later on, he starts to spawn tornadoes around, and they just get super hectic because you gotta watch out for the tornadoes.
The tornadoes too
do damage to you, and then you gotta watch out for the Speed Force Kamehamehas because they do damage to you. Then there's another one where he does like a little Speed Force, like little magnet thing that if you're in that area, you're going to get hit. It's just a lot going on. Now I do have to say, we were dying. There was like one time
skill issue.
I was the only one alive, and I had to like revive people and get to a certain
Lejeune carrying
and revive, because you only limited to 2 revives in a boss fight, it seems like. So I can say it will get super hectic.
Lejeune was carrying
with friends, or if you're just playing by yourself, it can get hectic. But then again, once you like discover the whole premise of it and learn how everything goes down, then it gets super easy. I feel like that's probably going to be one of the things that people critique the most so far when it comes to it. So we really just got to see. And I did state that it is the first boss fight you actually get to do. So it's basically just going to test your abilities on how you can do when it comes to boss fight. And I'm already knowing when it comes to games like these, it's going to get harder and harder when it comes to fighting some of the other Justice League members, because with the new mechanics that's going to be introduced to that. So that's pretty much like my Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's Lejeune here, and I'll be back in
Shout to Lejeune. Hold up. Something. Let me fix something real quick. Had to switch over from Firefox. Definitely shout out to Lejeune though. The difference between his review and IGN is crazy. Like, whoever they sent clearly did not care. Clearly had no real interest. Obviously was bad at the game. Okay, now let's hear our boy, Mr. Arkham himself. The uncle of the Arkham community. See what Caboose had to say about Suicide Squad.
So it's time, finally, for me to be able to give you my hands-on impressions with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. After a very, very long wait, almost 8 years since we had gotten our hands on Batman Arkham Knight, I finally got to try out the next
first item would
in
be
the Arkham franchise
a Batman Fear Toxin.
from Rocksteady.
Oh, for
I
sure.
do want to give a thank you to the kind folks at WB Games for flying me out to Los Angeles, for providing me travel and accommodation so that I can get my hands on early with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. That will not alter how I feel about the game, however, contrary to what a lot of people online will say. Obviously, I'm very thankful for the opportunity.
Caboose throwing the shade. Yet, contrary to what the people online who are going to call him a shill will say, hope he tells everyone how much he carried you. Facts. So now, Caboose has played this a lot. He played the alpha, and he got flown out to play at the hands-on preview event. So he's going to have a actually pretty decent amount of experience, and it showed, because one of the reasons why Jay Shockblast had to get carried is because he didn't really play much of the alpha because he wanted to save himself for the event.
And that kind of stuff is amazing. I also got to meet a ton of awesome creators in the space, some that I've known and some new ones that I've met for the first time. But regardless, I was going in with an open mind, and I wanted to see how I genuinely felt about this game. I have some positives, I have some negatives. I want to get into all that here in this video.
Positives and negatives.
Saying that I unfortunately didn't get a hands-on with all 4 members of the squad during my time playing the game. I mainly played as Captain Boomerang, and that is the only character I recorded footage with, but I also did briefly get to sneak in some time trying out King Shark. I unfortunately did not get to capture any footage with that character.
Caboose.
Still talk about it. And okay, guys, don't hate me, all right? Or you know what? Hate me all you want. But the gameplay here is actually kind of fun. Matter of fact, specifically when it comes to gameplay, I think Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is going to surprise a lot of people. I feel while there are so many diehard fans of the Arkham franchise, myself included, a lot of people seem to forget or didn't even know in the first place that Rocksteady's first ever game was an FPS, coupled with the third-person
Urban Chaos
that we actually have in Batman Arkham Knight with the Batmobile, and also the entire Joker sequence towards the end of the game. And I don't personally think that it's as insane of a departure from what Rocksteady is normally comfortable with as a development studio as some people make it seem. Granted, I get it. That's not inherently the issue that some people have with Suicide Squad.
What's up, J.
The
Coon?
majority of the people online that
I've been complaining about Flash so far. So far, IGN.
Instead of Suicide Squad. But if this is the game that we got, then this is the game that I'm going to be judging. And when it comes to gameplay, I liked what I played. At least I liked a lot of what I played. I have some complaints. We'll get to that in a bit, though. The gunplay can be incredibly satisfying. There's the shield harvesting mechanic where you shoot an enemy in their legs to weaken them, and then you use your melee attack to take them out, harvesting their shield and gaining any health that you may have lost when you're in a fight. With Captain Boomerang, it's especially fun because you use his boomerang for his melee attack. Shocking, I know. He uses the boomerangs. And then there's also the counter shot mechanic.
Forever the course of IGN.
Already explained in a past Suicide Squad Insider.
The IGN review was a joke.
Familiar counter system that you may recognize from the Arkham games. You need to shoot a special shot at the enemy to stun them. When you have several Brainiac minions on screen and you're chaining shield harvests, counter shots, and your special moves, jumping and zipping around with your traversal mechanics, using your boomerangs or just your melee attacks in general as Captain Boomerang, tossing grenades. Oh man, it can be pretty damn fun.
Boomerang is the GOAT.
A boomerang that when you use it on an enemy, they slow down in midair, allowing you plenty of time to unload your shotgun rounds into them for a quick kill. His ultimate move is also super fun, literally ping-ponging around with the Speed Force, attacking tons of enemies on screen at once. And some of the gameplay that you're actually going to be seeing on screen does indeed have the damage numbers, but I found out that you can, through the options menu,
still stuck on the I couldn't hit the flash from IGN. Bro.
If you don't want to see any of that information on screen. Health bars are fine for me. I don't mind keeping that on. It's good to have the information of how many shots I might need to take down this enemy, but seeing the damage numbers was always too much for me. I didn't really care for it. So I'm glad that there's
You know, I just realized the IGN guy didn't even finish the Flash fight. I just realized it. He didn't actually finish it. He just mentioned that it was hard to hit the Flash. I'm not even sure he played it. He had mentioned, oh, it was just hard to hit the Flash because he darts around. Lejeune actually did a full breakdown of the fight, explained what he liked and didn't like about it, and explained the different phases of the fight. Like having to hit him with, like having to counter strike the clones, having to deal with the Speed Force Kamehameha, having to deal with the tornadoes. He actually broke down the different phases. I don't think the IGN guy even made it through the whole fight. Like he only showed footage of like the beginning and complained because he was having trouble hitting the Flash because he couldn't stay still. And bro didn't even finish. Bro's so bad he didn't even finish the fight. He rage quit. He rage quit the fight.
There's an option to turn that off, and I know that's going to make some people happy. Through your skill trees, you can also unlock a traditional
that's crazy
mechanic where you hit 2 buttons to do a takedown when it's available, and it has a bit of Suicide Squad flair to it. And really, when you get deep into the customization and upgrading your character's abilities, stringing it all together can be quite addicting. I, in general, get the feeling that this game took a lot of inspiration from something like Borderlands. I know a lot of people
shout out to Borderlands
like to think and compare this to Destiny, but I don't think it's anything like Destiny. The 4-player co-op, the tone of the game, everything just for me feels very Borderlands more so than it does something like Destiny.
Very true.
When it came to my limited time playing as King Shark, I was just a brute, meleeing as many enemies as I can to pop them up for easy kills, then building up my super so I can launch myself into the air with his super jump and then charge up a massive ground pound, clearing the area. I do wish, though, that he was just a full-on melee-based character.
Same.
Not relying on guns at all because, you know, he's like a freaking demigod and definitely doesn't need a shotgun. I think it also really would have complemented the RPG element of this game really well. You know, the fact that there is a character that doesn't have any guns, that is just a melee.
Borderlands comparison means you're in.
Maybe could have had a sprinkle
of
free-flow combat in there. I do appreciate, though, that I can get as close to that playstyle as possible, even though I have to use the guns at some point. And then while we're on the topic of gameplay, traversal is also just fantastic, at least for the 2 characters that I played. Captain Boomerang utilizes the Speed Force, and his traversal requires a bit of finesse to really get it right. Essentially, the way you'll find it works best is when you toss your boomerang at a ground surface, then use your Speed Force run to get moving quick. Then when you have the air dashing, a double jump, running up walls, you can get around Metropolis effectively and with such style. It really makes me hope that Rocksteady will make a Flash game one day, please. Plus, if I remember correctly, in the skill tree, you can upgrade your Speed Force run so that it goes for 200% longer, and that means that you can hit the ground running and be running across the city for quite a bit of time before you slow down. So you toss your boomerang at a ground surface, start running, you can jump into the air dash, hit the wall with the boomerang, run up the wall, and just chain everything together beautifully, and it makes for some really fun and engaging traversal. I like that there's
Careful,
a learning
Caboose, though.
curve
Curry
with
being
traversal.
shit.
I appreciate that you have to dedicate some time to see how it works best. With the two characters that I got to play,
Can't confirm you died a bunch of times because it was read too fast. Facts. Jay's skill issue, yeah, was having a hard time keeping up with the Speed Force. Yeah, that as soon as I saw that Captain Boomerang had Speed Force, I was immediately like, that's my main. Gotta have it. We gotta have a Flash game at some point, but any game that has a speedster, I'm maining the speedster automatically.
there was just this, oh, I get it now moment. I imagine that the same applies to both Deadshot and Harley Quinn, even though I didn't get to play as them. But okay, we've talked about the things that I like, but I do have some issues that I wanted to get into. First, and most importantly, is that sometimes this game can be quite a bit of a sensory overload. We played the mission that you might remember from the PlayStation State of Play last year, where you have to take down this giant military weapon that's been infected by Brainiac. And during this mission, you need to collect these items, dunk them into the weak points, which inevitably opens up the weak points, allowing you to shoot them and work towards destroying the gun. All the meanwhile, they are throwing waves upon waves of enemies your way, causing there to be way too much happening on screen at once and causing me to lose track of what I even needed to do. I was just running around and killing a bunch of enemies until I was guided back on track, and something to that effect happened a couple of times while we were playing. I just lose track of my objectives, and although it can be fun when you have enemies you need to counter shot and enemies that you're trying to shield harvest and you're stringing all your really
is that the underwear boomerang skin?
When there are just an insane amount of
Hold
enemies
up,
on
what?
screen, it's way too much for me to keep track of. I think that while technically speaking for the gameplay, it's kind of impressive that there's that much stuff on my screen with
They got the Spider-Man Captain Boomerang underwear fit. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. They got Boomerang running around in his boxers. Yo, look at that. Boomerang running around in his boxers. Hey, yo. That's funny. But yeah, I definitely get the vibe that, yeah, there's definitely a lot happening on screen, which makes the performance so impressive. Like with all the particle effects and stuff going off, it's crazy that the game runs so smooth.
without much hitching or without any frame drops, we can tone it down just a bit. I wonder if this has something to do with maybe changing the difficulty, but I also wouldn't want to lower the difficulty and then have it just be too easy. And I definitely don't want to know what it looks like when you're playing on the hardest difficulty. The other major issue that I have,
I played on the hardest.
A bit of a caveat, is the fact that the city is almost literally dead. I know this has been an issue in the past Arkham games, but at least for some of those games it made sense, or at the very least they rode away with the city being
Where's your underwear, Harley?
Here,
Don't count on it.
It sounds like the brainwashed Justice League, alongside Brainiac's forces, have pretty much wiped out everyone in Metropolis, or just turned into one of the Brainiac minions. It's kind of bleak, and I'm hoping for, well, a bit of hope in this game's story.
You're hoping for a bit of hope. There is some hope coming, Caboose. I know this because of Miller. Miller shed a lot of light on the rest of the game. There's a lot. There's a lot in this game. Just to clarify, Rocksteady did not cancel a Superman game. They never were actually making a Superman game. They never pitched a Superman game. They've been making Suicide Squad for like 7 years now. They never tried to make a Superman game. It was from Arkham Knight to Suicide Squad. No Superman game at all.
gameplay standpoint, it makes what is otherwise a beautifully designed, almost perfectly realized metropolis feel quite empty. And this is where that caveat comes in, because I know why this is. And it's almost certainly to help with the game's performance. It's actually kind of insane that in a massive open world game with 4-player co-op, I was zipping through the city relatively quickly alongside my group without a hitch. I personally didn't experience a single frame drop or quality dip, which is kind of crazy. I feel if there's one thing that we can all acknowledge is that this is definitely a game worthy of being exclusive to the current generation of consoles. It is definitely taking advantage of their power. I just wish we could have found some sort of middle ground. Maybe less enemies on the screen around the open world.
Did Rocksteady cook? Yes, sir.
Opportunity for there to be more civilians, just to instill a bit of hope and not make it seem like all is lost. Who knows though? I haven't played the full game and there could be something that I'm missing. I'm also not a game developer, so I don't know how possible it would be to implement some of my ideas. I also will say as a general note that while it can be fun playing with up to 4 people, sometimes that's actually what contributed to the sensory overload thing that I was talking about. So I think I'll be playing a majority of the story mode solo while enjoying the co-op when I'm just free roaming around or maybe doing some side activities. Speaking of which, we also got to try out some of those side activities and explore some of the RPG elements of the game.
Some
One
side missions
mission involved us using these vehicles that Gizmo provides.
Ooh, vehicles
that are actually on a
some more
timer to
vehicles.
Explode. I think these were a little random and didn't really pull me in like the gameplay from the actual squad does. The RPG elements are, I mean, fine, but I don't know. I just wanted to jump in and shoot things. I feel like I need the full game to really judge this because that is an element to any game when it comes to an RPG that you really need to sink your teeth into. Like there's some vendors that you go to and side characters that you interact with that help you upgrade some of the things that you can do. We got this cool freeze ability on all our melee attacks. Specifically for Captain Boomerang, it was cool because I would freeze a group of enemies and then you can just shoot them and watch them break like glass. So yeah, you can do some flashy stuff and it's kind of cool some of the upgrades that you can get, but I'm just not super into this. And I don't know, I am getting a little bored of seeing 10 different currencies and having them all do different things. The last major portion of our gameplay actually involved us trying out the Flash boss fight, which is definitely effects heavy, but also kind of fun and engaging for me. Considering you're fighting the Flash, they really made it feel like you needed to be quick on your toes. Landing your counter shots are critical, and you pretty much have to be moving the entire time, creating for a fun but sometimes overly frantic pace to the fight. Again, that sensory overload thing, which has
Jay Shockblast had to be carried during this fight.
Problem with throughout my entire time playing. I feel like if they toned it down just a bit, it would be in a really good spot gameplay wise. Story wise, I am very interested to see where this goes. Some of the writing here is top notch. There are some laugh out loud moments where my entire group was cracking up.
Hello,
They're showing this one. Yeah, this is a favorite among the creators.
Upper body strength betrays you, Boomerang.
Shark, hold up. It's a...
This made Unreal Engine. This is Unreal Engine, yeah. So Rocksteady made this one in Unreal Engine. I think it's in 4 and not 5, if I'm not mistaken.
But you saying I can't really makes me want to, you know?
Harley, no.
Worth it.
And there were a couple of other moments that
Unreal Engine 4
gave me chills.
Okay, Boomerang. You want to see what a real hero can do? I'll show you.
IGN barely the IGN reviewer barely played the game. It's crazy. Imagine if Harley grabbed his front side.
Flash, how do I stop this? Please, tell me how.
Wonder Woman.
You have to kill us, Diana.
So glad the Flash fight is hectic. Exactly what a fighting a speedster should be. Exactly.
To save the world.
Mommy is crazy.
So I'm I'm really looking forward to seeing what Rocksteady has in store for us
What's up,
here
Sam?
with the story in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. But man, I really hope that we don't kill the Justice League, actually. If we do, whatever ends up happening, I don't know. I hope that it's reversed either by the end of the game or through some post-launch content. I just want to see my heroes back in action. I want to see the first ever
Say Harley
time
Quinn is supposed to be
Rocksteady's
fine.
Justice League has been on
And she
screen,
is.
have them end up working together to take down Brainiac. And man, even though he's so mean, there are a couple of things in there from Kevin Conroy's Batman performance that are just so good. It really makes me sad that we lost Kevin Conroy, and he'll forever be my Batman.
Mog, I was born Bruce Wayne, citizen of Gotham. At too young an age, I lost my parents to the city's greatest enemy, crime. From that day forward, I swore I would dedicate my life to defeating those who would prey on the heart and the spirit of Gotham. So I became a symbol. Something even evil would fear. I became vengeance. I became the Knight. I became Batman.
Oh my God, the GOAT.
Of course, I'd have to rely on more than just my wits. I'd have to work hard, train every day to fight against crime. I'd have to design high-tech tools, equipment, and the most advanced vehicles you've ever seen.
Rest in power, Kevin Conroy.
But I thought I had to push them away to protect them. Now, as part of the Justice League, I'm grateful for my companions. Because together, we are stronger than we are alone.
Oh.
Overall, there are things that I'm looking forward to with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and there are some problems that I have with this game as well. We've got just a couple of weeks until it is out, until this long 8+ year wait for Rocksteady.
Now, as part of the Justice League, I'm grateful for my companions.
Oh, bro, can you imagine? Can you imagine an actual Justice League game? Playable Justice League game? Oh, I can't wait. I need it. I need it. I need it.
Together, we are stronger than we are alone.
Beautiful. Kevin Conroy always going crazy.
Looking forward to with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and there are some problems that I have with this game as well. We've got just a couple of weeks until it is out, until this long 8+ year wait for Rocksteady's next game is over. There's a ton of skepticism. I get it, but we're gonna have to.
Batwoman never say nothing like that. You don't know anything about Batman.
For the deluxe edition owners, and then February 2nd for everybody else. Once again, I need to give a big thank you to WB Games for providing me travel and accommodations for this trip to get early access with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And there you have it, my hands-on thoughts with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I clearly didn't love every single aspect, although I imagine some people online are still only going to hear that I liked some things and think that I loved it all. What can you do? Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to change some people's minds in what they think about me or this game, and that's totally fine. What you'll never see me do, though, is attack any of the people who are working on this game. I know they work tirelessly. I know that they work incredibly hard, and I applaud them for their work. Regardless of whether or not some of the things in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League just didn't land for me, I'm not going to go attacking developers for it. I'm normal. But with that being said, let me now kick it to you guys. Sound off with your thoughts in the comments section below, based on all this new gameplay, based on my thoughts here.
Shout out to Caboose. Definitely go subscribe if for whatever reason you're still not. I mean, it's Caboose. Character development. Yep. Batman learned over the course of all the Arkham games. His character evolved, and this game, of course, takes place 5 years later after the events of Arkham Knight and the Nightfall Protocol. So, Caboose, game looks fun. Game looks fun to me. Obviously, it's not going to be for everybody, but I just love how Caboose was just throwing shade the whole time at the haters who are going to call him a shill. Even though, as you saw, he did not say the game was perfect. He did not say it was the best game ever. He just said, it was fun. I had some fun. I have problems with this. I have problems with that. I want to see more. But all the haters are going to hear is, oh, he liked it. Oh, there you go. What's up, Craig? Lejeune, I think, had so far had the best deep dive, but Caboose definitely cooked, doing some really cool stuff in there. Made some great points, especially how Rocksteady's first game was a third-person shooter. Now I know Jay Shockblast already had his, so let's go check out Jay. He dropped a premiere at about 10 a.m.
Learn at.
Is the premiere still going? I think the premiere's still going. So we're going to rewind. Not Jay Shockblast still in my premiere intro. Not Jay Shockblast using my premiere intro. I'm the first one. I'm the one that was using this. I put everybody onto this one. Nobody was doing this before me. At least in our circle. Nobody was doing this before me. I'll put people on in this one. Jay owes me rosies. I appreciate you, Jay Coon. Of course, they had a WB Jay Shockblast, got to play early. Fun fact, he actually helped develop the game.
What's happening, everyone? Jay Shockblast here, and check it out. Back in early December, I was invited to a special creator event in Burbank, California, where I got to play Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Jay Moneybags.
With a couple other creator friends and some of the folks from Rocksteady. And I want to start off by saying thank you to WB Games. They did provide me with all of my travel accommodations. So they flew me out there, put me up in a hotel, even covered a meal or two, and gave me this really cool chance to have some early access to the game. Now, in this video, I will be mixing in some edited footage of my gameplay experience in the gameplay.
Oh, that's the actual costume
that I am playing with 3 other people. The other people are Caboose, who is playing as Captain Boomerang.
They have actual live prop. You got to actually see the live props when he was at the studio. That's pretty cool. So Jay was telling me how much he was stressing about editing this video, and I have to say, so far, editing, good job, Jay. You had no reason to be stressing so much. So far, so good.
And Uncaged Games, who is playing as King Shark. Definitely make sure you check both of them out on their YouTube channels. They will also have coverage of the game starting today, I believe. Also, we were joined by a member of Rocksteady, and
5 views is nuts. It's definitely way more than that. It's a YouTube display error. Like right now, it says he has 60 concurrent people watching the premiere, which is still in progress. So obviously, the video has way more than 5 views.
I am actually kind of embarrassed. I think his name was Jamie. Lots of tattoos. Super awesome dude. Very helpful. Loved playing with him. Thank you for giving us just a great experience. Now, it's very important to me to start off by saying this is my honest opinion. I'm not influenced by the fact that I was flown out there or any of that stuff. I do know that there are some people that are going to be skeptical of that.
Of course.
But I want to make sure I address that from the get-go.
Haters going to hate.
If you do feel some kind of way that I am influenced by it, I can't do anything about that. But I promise you, for almost 14 years on YouTube, I've always been a straight shooter. You can look at my track record. I played a lot of games for a long time that some people didn't like.
All facts.
I can't help but feel the way that I do. And the way that I feel is this game is what it is. and I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is. And enjoy it I did.
That's right.
Now, I've said many times on podcasts like the After Show with Sadot the Gamer that if I had a choice of what this video game would be.
That's right. The After Show podcast with myself, Sadot the Gamer, ! Podcast in the chat. If you want to subscribe, we go live every week. We're going to be talking about the game in detail this Friday, now that the NDA is gone and we can talk about it.
Be obviously I would rather play as the Justice League like just about everybody else, but that's not what we're doing here, and it's not suddenly going to become another Batman game.
Shameless plug.
It just isn't. So I feel like if you could just get over that hump and judge the game for what it is, I think you're probably going to be very pleasantly surprised. It is a very well put together video game, as you would imagine. Rocksteady has a tremendous track record with their Arkham series, and I think that's probably the biggest reason why so many people are disappointed that this is not Batman Arkham 4 or 5 or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? And I get that. Okay, I really do. I understand it's also compounded by the fact that this is Kevin Conroy's last appearance as Batman. Again, I get that. I also get the vibe that Batman is going to be a really cool part of this game for other reasons.
Can't confirm.
And I think that's what I'm so excited about with this game, is that it is something different. I never would have chosen a Suicide Squad game, but if you look at what things, the way they've put this game together and the plans they have for it post-launch, I really feel like this has an opportunity to be everything that Marvel's Avengers wanted to be but couldn't. Okay? Because the biggest problem with Marvel's Avengers, a game that I put thousands of hours into and streamed for over 1,000 days, the biggest problem with it was that they could not keep up with the content. I feel like, yeah, there were some issues with the gameplay and whatever, but like, I feel like once they got over that hump, the issue was putting out new content. And I don't think that's something that Rocksteady is going to have some trouble with. I'm under the impression, and we'll probably get the third insider focusing on the post-launch stuff next week. Very soon, because the game's coming 20-something days from now. I get the feeling
next week confirmed
they're going to lay out a really cool and aggressive plan, and without saying things I'm not ready to discuss, some of the things I have heard are pretty cool, and they're going to address a lot of the issues that I think people have with the microtransaction portion of the game. But none of that is something I'm officially.
The NDA for the hands-on gameplay is lifted. So all the people who got flown out in December had to sign an NDA. All that's gone. They can talk about everything now. There's still a ton that hasn't been revealed yet that officially can't be talked about, but it's a lot. It's going to be a lot.
Officially allowed to really get into. So we're going to just tip our toes in the water on that and then progress. All right. Now I want to point out in the background, I've probably got some video playing and everything, and the cuts are going to be a little different. We had some obligations on the way that we were allowed to present the material, so I'm trying my best to put together, little clips that fit into the parameters of what we were allowed to do. What I'm talking about might not always match up in the background, and for that I apologize, but there's a lot of really great stuff going on with the game. We got to play a lot of early stuff, stuff that you probably played in the alpha, if you got to play the alpha.
Shout out to the closed alpha.
The section where we see Poison Ivy for the first time, which was certainly very interesting, and the reaction to her has also been interesting. And trust me, when we were in the moment, I was like, oh, this is interesting. It's kind of got that Baby Groot vibe, where he restarts as a little sapling and grows up. I think it's an interesting take. I don't particularly love the presentation per se, but it makes sense to me, and I think that's all that matters. I played as Deadshot. All right, I like Deadshot.
Filthy Deadshot
My
main.
time in the alpha, I enjoyed Deadshot the most, and I think that's probably going to be my main character.
Boomerang's the best.
As I progress through the game. Sorry, having a dog means that he's just gonna be here and making noise because I'm talking, and I'm doing this all straight shot. All right, now here's the thing. I think
no cuts.
A lot of what I got to play was fun, and the biggest part for me though is that it is a game that is not gonna just come to you. It has a learning curve. The traversal is certainly interesting. Each character has different traversal that will improve with different gear and skills over time. But once you get over that learning curve, I think it's really cool, and especially with King Shark. I look at King Shark, and I think he's what the Hulk was supposed to feel like all along. The open world is fantastic.
King Shark is fun.
There's a
I'll
lot
give
of
him
really
that.
cool things. It's kind of nice to be in Metropolis instead of Gotham yet again. When you think about all the open world DC games outside of DC Universe Online, it's been Gotham, right? Like we've been mostly exploring Gotham. This feels
Reverse
like
Flash
much
is a character.
more fun world.
In
There's
DC.
lots of cool, little Easter eggs and scenery to experience. We didn't get to go too far, so I didn't even really get a full scale of how big the city was, but it did feel very big, and it did feel a little alive. I don't know how it's going to change over time because obviously we're early in the game, and the Justice League is in the middle of being corrupted, and not all the aliens are out to fight, but there are definitely lots of things to do throughout the world that I got to see. We obviously took over the Hall of Justice and got to walk around and explore the Hall of Justice. It's a really cool experience to kind of see the way they kind of put some of the lore into the game by doing these fun little interactive things. If you did do
this Flash fight looks fun.
You probably got to play that little Batman level where he kind of stalks you through the museum, and that was a really cool vibe. And it also kind of got you up to speed with everything that's happened in the Arkhamverse, because this is in the Arkhamverse, and that's definitely very evident.
Ooh, he talked about the Batman. He would talk about the Batman level. Oh, too bad they couldn't show it. Yeah, the Batman, the level where Batman stalks you is insane. Oh, I can't. I'm glad he mentioned it. He's the one that mentioned it. I didn't mention it. Oh, yeah, that's that. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait till you're allowed to show that. That scene. Oh my god, that mission is so good.
Through all of that, a lot of what we got to see was a little bit of John Stewart Green Lantern. Tracking people down. Obviously, we got to interact with the Flash.
A lot of people saying he's complaining he's messed up. We wanted to see. Yeah, facts.
Corrupted. Obviously, Diana, Wonder Woman herself, shows up, and there's Amanda Waller, who has she's very hateable. Like, we hate Waller, man. She's a jerk.
Waller's the worst,
and she's really trapped them and left these miscreants with no choice but to follow her rules and do what she says.
Allegedly, Batman solos. Facts.
There's so much to take in the whole process. I got to play the game for roughly 4 or 5 hours.
Allegedly.
And it was really cool. There's a lot going on. Obviously one of the criticisms of the game is it's a looter shooter. And I get that. I mean, people are tired of looter shooters in some regards, but also looter.
Did y'all peep that?
But to follow.
Check that out, Avengers players. An emote wheel. Look at that. Every Marvel's Avengers player right now, stand up. Behold, another game with an emote wheel. In the base game. Imagine an emote wheel in a video game that has emotes. Bro, that will never not be funny. Avengers would and could never. He did. I know you did that on purpose. I know Jay put that there on purpose.
And do what she says. I think I really, there's so much to take in the whole process. I got to play the game for roughly 4 or 5 hours.
I'll definitely peep that too. Not just regular emotes. It's got the Fortnite style. This is the only Fortnite comparison that would like actually be appropriate. They have like the Fortnite type of interactive emotes, so you're not just doing emotes by yourself. As you see
in the whole process, I got to play the game.
You can high five other players and and connect with them by hitting the button prompt.
Roughly 4 or 5 hours, and it was really cool. There's a lot going on. You know, obviously one of the criticisms of the game is it's a looter shooter, and I get that. I mean, you know, people are tired of looter shooters in some regards, but also looter shooters are some of the most popular games running right now. And you have to understand that like this is something that was planned years ago. So once you get the ball rolling and at a certain point, you're kind of committed to it. And I think it works really well here. And I think one of the things people are not noticing is that a lot of the things that make a character like Captain Boomerang, like Hello, his Boomerang, they're still there. Like he still has boomerang attacks. It basically works as a melee attack. You know, Deadshot has his little you know, gauntlets, if you will, that shoot things, and Harley's got her baseball bat, and Shark is just gonna shark. You know what I mean?
Shark's gonna shark.
They've got like really cool melee attacks. And you're not going to just feel like you're always using a gun. I mean, theoretically, you could just melee attack your way through everything. It's one of the ways you get back shield anyway. Again, learning curve. Definitely some things you're going to have to learn as you play through it.
Skill issue.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room. Kill the Justice League. People seem to be surprised that that is what you are tasked with doing. And while I did get to do a boss battle with the Flash, I can't really discuss too much. They did give us some B-roll footage that I'm hopefully playing right now, showing that encounter with the Flash.
He's not playing it right now.
At the end, get the kill shot on the Flash.
Skill issue.
After, if we're being honest, Caboose put me in his backpack and just dominated the whole thing. But we didn't get to see the cutscene that happens once you actually win that fight. So I don't know really how far into killing the Justice League we actually go, but through the dialogue, you will notice that it feels like whatever is happening to them is irreversible. So newsflash, the name is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Yes, there is a possibility that you are going to literally kill the Justice League. Not my choice, not what I would have chosen, but it's what we have. And I did find it very enjoyable. The guns are really well made. I obviously used Deadshot, so I used a lot of sniper rifles. He also had LMGs. There was a point where we went into that Flash encounter where they prepped us. The whole playing experience was curated. You know, there was obviously saves that they had specifically for this experience. And
you see the variety of cosmetics.
Builds. I mean, that's something a lot of people are not
we've
knowing
seen
or understanding.
We've seen some cool skins so far.
You can actually make builds for your characters. You can get specific types of guns that do certain damage types. You know, Poison Ivy becomes a vendor along with the Penguin and I want to say the Tinkerer. They all have different things, and Poison Ivy, what she does is she offers afflictions, which basically can help you do ice damage or poison damage or fire damage or things of that nature, and you can reset them by going to her and paying
6
her
feet toes up
cookies and toys.
Captain likes toes confirmed.
But anyway, and Penguin does his thing. There are definitely different grades of weapons that you can acquire throughout. It is a looter shooter after all. What I will say that is very interesting is the weapons. There's no like level. So like when you find the weapon, all right, and it's just gonna work with you, you know. So you're
Important thing to keep note there, that which I think is a good feature. Yeah, because I know in other games, especially if you play Marvel's Avengers, you're used to getting a piece of gear and it being at a certain level, and you have to like level up, spend resources leveling up the gear. There's a no gear level at all. Your character will increase in level and power, you know, to earn more skill points and everything like that. But your gear will not. Your gear will drop at whatever point you are at in skill.
You're not constantly looking for a level, oh, I got the level 4 version, let me get the level 7, let me get the level 8 version. You have the confidence of knowing if in chapter 3 you get this sick, like, I forget what they call it, like this purple level, the best level of rarity, black mask gun,
Notorious
sniper rifle that you can, that it's not going to be, you know, you're not going to have to throw it away after you level up a couple more times. So it's not going to become obsolete. You know, you've got the option to, you know, constantly keep it in your arsenal.
It is weed
throughout the
color.
game. So that's great. I think that's a very cool feature.
I don't think it's a weed skin, but it's definitely got some reggae tones to the Deadshot fit for sure. The yellow and green. But I don't believe marijuana was the theme officially.
That kind of keeps you able to have the best guns for you. There's different weapon mods and different things that can improve your traversal. You know, obviously with Deadshot, he's got the jetpack, so he runs out of fuel over time, and you can basically curate your experience.
They all have that. They all have that color palette.
Travel further and more and reboot.
You can choose mask on or off. Oh, that's dope.
All those types of things. So it's a great thinkers game, and
mask
I think
off.
that's something a lot of people enjoy, and it's something I'm looking forward to some of my favorite creator friends theory crafting and putting together some cool videos on how to do things and do them better. So the voice acting is stellar. There's lots of little jokes and fun interactions between the characters. One of the things that kept happening to me is I'm like a squirrel or like a dog that sees a squirrel. Like I would be flying around and trying to keep up with everybody, and I would see something little and I'd go over and look at it, and all of a sudden
a Rocksteady guy played as Harley.
And you have 30 seconds to get there, and poof, I would never get there in time, and my head would explode, and then it would, you know, pull me forward. Now, one of the things that a lot of people need to understand is this
Over
game
2024
can be
make
played
friends
with
to play games with
in co-op, or you can play it completely single player.
Oh, there it
One
is.
thing that they've
Mask
already
off.
announced through their Discord is that this. A lot of people need to understand is this game can be.
There you go. Yep. Definitely join the Suicide. If you're looking to play with other people, I would recommend joining my Discord. Link is pinned in the chat. If you're a non-member, you can join. If you want to join the members area, become a channel member. But join our Discord. We got a section for Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League for anyone that's trying to squad up. Suicide Squad also has an official Discord for people that are into the game, so should be able to make some friends. So this is the outfits little customization screen. So you got the color swatches. He unlocked 2 so far. That's the base one, and that's the green and yellow one he was rocking. You can adjust the head, so you can take off the mask. He doesn't have anything for the body yet, but that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. And this is just for the Task Force X suit. So each suit will have looks like 3 levels of customization: the body, the head, and the color swatches. That's pretty cool.
Be played with friends in co-op, or you can play it completely single player. One thing that they've already announced through their Discord is that this one of the things that a lot of people were upset about was the fact that it's supposed to be always online, and at some point after launch, that will be going away. So you don't have to worry about logging into the cert. You don't have to always be online. All right, like you don't have to worry about
Offline mode,
shutting down however long down the road, not being able to play it. That'll be an option that's there. But I will say playing with friends is pretty cool.
Yes, it is.
And obviously you can play with up to 4 friends, and everybody can be a different character if they want to. Obviously it's fun to have, each of the characters for interaction purposes. And I think I'm going to play as everybody at some point. The skill
but it should be noted, even if you don't want to play, if you actually don't want to play with everyone having different characters, if you want to play as the same character, it doesn't block you. You can have two Deadshots. You can have a whole team of Captain Boomerangs, which would obviously be the most OP team in the game. But there's no restrictions on characters you can party up with. You can just have everyone be the same, or have a few people have duplicate characters.
Tree is pretty interesting. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I had a lot of time to go through all the skill tree. I did add skills as I leveled up, but I kind of just picked whatever I could real quick.
Hey, look what it is.
So I'm probably not qualified to really go through it all that much, but I'm very much looking forward to what comes next. Obviously, if you get
you can see Harley's green skin.
The game comes out on January 30th.
Deep
and
Freeze
if you get
Affliction.
the regular version, it will be coming out on February 2nd. So you do get 3 days of early access for getting the deluxe edition. The deluxe edition does come with a battle pass token. So you will get whichever battle pass you choose to redeem. Lots more details coming on about that in the future.
Oh yeah, a lot of information about the battle pass coming that people are going to be very impressed by. Let's see. Deep Freeze Affliction. This affliction freezes enemies by arresting cellular utility. Let me see them perks. Freeze enemies for 10 seconds. Frozen enemies take 200% plus damage from firearms, and plus 1,000% damage from falling. Interesting. Frozen enemies take greatly reduced damage from melee. Nullifies critical hit chance on frozen enemies. Nullifies ammo drops on frozen enemies. So that's the drawback. Yep, Tara Strong is the voice actor for Harley.
Obviously, there will be microtransactions to the game, and there will be new characters added to the game over time.
And there will be high-level in-game content. Yep,
but
a lot of in-game
so you don't
content.
necessarily have to buy the new characters or the new content, but there will be skins and all that. We didn't see any of that. I only had access for each character. Only had 2 different skins available. Their standard one that you've seen through all the promotional material, and then there was one that was kind of like a greenish camouflage style outfit. You can take the mask on and off for Deathstroke, or I'm sorry, Deadshot.
Deathstroke confirmed.
In some of the video, you probably saw him, with his mask on and off. I prefer it on personally, but I just was trying to vary it up a little bit. There's a good chance I may just have a little bit of extra video running after I'm done talking about all of this. I'm trying to think that I think it's going to be a fun game. And if you enjoy looter shooters, I think you're going to enjoy this game. I mean, is it going to be a perfect game?
Yep, that is true. You can also experience everything at different times of day. You can change. You got the whole day-night cycle coming for launch. So yeah, they showed a little bit of this on Twitter, some of the Rocksteady devs. If you want to switch things up, switch up the look, you can change it to day or night. And actually, night might actually be the meta. because the lighting, when you look at the boss encounters and stuff at night, looks way better. I might be rocking out with that night cycle.
No, I don't think so. I think it'll be a lot of fun though. I think the worst I think it's going to be is a 7 out of 10. The worst. I think that's the floor. All right.
The floor is a 7. Sure. If you bought the deluxe, do you still have to buy the battle pass? The battle pass is a separate thing. It will be changing every season, and you'll have to and every season there's going to be new stuff to have on the battle pass. What the deluxe edition gives you is a token which you can then use on one of the battle passes. Whether you want to wait for season 1 or the next season, you'll be able to use the token and redeem that battle pass. But it's only one token. It doesn't apply to all the battle passes for every season.
Right. I think it has the potential to go even higher than that. And I'm going to sink so many hours into this game. Like, I played a ton of Gotham Knights. I played a ton of Marvel's Midnight Suns. I played a ton of Marvel's Avengers. Obviously, if you follow the channel, you know I played all the Lego games, both DC and Marvel. I played, Deadpool and all the Arkham games, and I've played them all. Marvel Heroes Omega, a huge game for me. I love superhero games, and this is definitely going to be one of the ones that I love. I'm not going to love using the title all the time. It's too long. I kind of wish they thought of us YouTubers when they made that title. But it is descriptive, I'll tell you that.
It's a very descriptive title.
Yeah, man. I felt
very unfortunate descriptive title.
I felt like maybe they're just tired of Batman. And this is me editorializing. I'm not telling you that they said anything, specific. But one of the things that I'm kind of known for is when we went to WB Games Montreal to play Gotham Knights a little over a year ago, Caboose was pitching like, oh, I want a Superman game, and yeah, I know all you guys want a Superman game, and I
didn't watch Uncaged Games yet,
kind of as a joke, because as you can see right there, I love Ghost of Tsushima, and I also love the anime for Batman Ninja, so I started pitching to literally anybody that would listen to
this. Looks so much fun.
Batman Ninja, feudal Japan, in the style of the anime, open world, because I think that'd be kind of a cool game. The joke took on a life of its own because literally I pitched it to every single person that would listen to me that day. And since then, I've pitched it to everybody anytime I've seen Caboose or Uncaged, even on Twitter. People don't understand the joke, but we do. I even pitched it to Ed Boon in person in Chicago, very lightly.
Humble brag.
Mostly as a joke. But I wasn't going to do it this time, and I did out of peer pressure. And I felt like I'd kicked someone's dog. Like, the Stonewall faces that looked back at me when I mentioned Batman and game just led me to believe that they're ready for something else. And again, I've said this before many times. Would I have chose the something else to be Suicide Squad? No. I would have chosen Justice League. I would have probably Lantern over Superman personally, but just because I think you can do more with it. But like, there's a lot of other characters I would have chosen, a lot of other groups I would have chosen, but that doesn't change the fact that that's where we are now. We have a Suicide Squad game where you kill the Justice League. Hell, I wouldn't have even done Brainiac. We did that in Injustice, and we did that in Lego Batman 3. Like, the Brainiac story arc has been just overdone. Not the choices I would have made, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to enjoy this game for what it is. And I think that's the thing that everybody needs to get over. You're not obligated to play every superhero game. I think with Marvel's Midnight Suns, we saw a lot.
I only think it's just that Rocksteady is tired of Batman. Obviously, they've been working on it for a long time. They're probably, what they're probably tired of? They're probably tired of Batman fans. That's probably what it is. It's not just that they're they tired of Batman games and want to try something else, they're probably tired of all these Arkham fans. They're like, you know what? I'm tired of dealing with y'all Batman fans. We need to do something else.
A lot of people, oh, but it's a card game. I don't want to play a card game. And then once they played it, they realized, oh, it's really just a turn-based strategy game.
Yeah, Batman fatigue after playing night. Imagine making it for 10 plus years.
I really
Facts.
Like it, you know, and not everybody, but like I feel like that was a general consensus for people that holy cow, this game is.
Just think of how you felt after playing Arkham Knight a certain amount of times. Now, just imagine if you had to actually make Batman games, just hours and thousands of hours put into Batman related video games for 15 years. And on top of that, you had to deal with Batman fans online. You would be tired of it too.
It's cool because it's different. And I'm not saying you have to jump in day one for $70. Maybe wait for it to go on sale. I don't know. I feel like if you give the game a chance, you're probably going to enjoy it. If you played Marvel's Avengers, you're going to enjoy it. Like, it is what it is, right? It's different. It feels really good.
We got 4 Batman games from 2009 and 2015. Facts, bro.
I feel like even though no one was supposed to talk about the alpha, because it was a closed alpha with an NDA, I feel like I've had enough conversations behind closed doors and seen people talk about how much they enjoyed it, which is really great. I feel like a lot of the Cloak and Dagger Batman stuff is actually hurting Rocksteady and WB a little bit in the promotion of this game, because I feel like once, and you know, people like me and Caboose and Lejeune and Uncaged, and I think Comic Storian was there. I think I heard Dame Falcon was there. These are other creators you can look into. I know Game Informer was there. There were lots of people there. I know there was also an event in the UK, and I've seen somebody named Jarv was there. So look out for all of their content as well. Get their opinions.
Yeah, Somniac is on.
I promise you that I understand why
Spider-Man game number 3.
When
and one of those games was a mini game.
To see things and do things. Sure, it does change you, because you get to be around these devs and you realize that they're real people and they have dreams and they're not lazy. They worked really hard on this game. I could tell that like these guys were sleep deprived, and it wasn't just
you probably wanted to make a game with daylight. Fact. Like, imagine
from the UK, you know what I mean? Like they are working hard on these games. They're trying to make them
like, that's what people are sleeping on. First of all, Rocksteady's first ever game, before they even made Batman, Rocksteady made a third-person shooter, and they basically had to create Gotham at night for the past 15 years. I don't think it's a coincidence that the first game after Arkham Knight takes place in Metropolis and is bright as daylight outside. They're like, we're getting as far away as possible from this.
From a place of love for these characters, and I feel like if you give it a chance, you're probably going to like it. But you know, if you're skeptical, there's no reason. Like, you're not obligated to buy every superhero game. I recently, listen, I recently bought this game, okay, on Switch. I waited for it to go on sale because I know it's kind of a kiddie game. I don't think it's going to do a lot of traffic on the channel, but I love superhero games, and I'm probably going to give it a try, you know, and see what we can do with it. But the reality is that there are a lot of different people that feel different ways about different things, and back when they were in the planning stages for this game, they thought it was a good idea. They went with it. This is what we have. And yes, money doesn't change my opinion. But I will say that, like, am I softer on some of the devs? Yeah, absolutely. And that's because I've met so many of them, and I know that they're just real people trying the best they can. That's all you can ask sometimes. I'm going to be critical of the game of things that I don't agree with, of things I don't like if they come up. If you've followed any of my coverage for Mortal Kombat, you'll know that I've complained about the XP on numerous occasions on video.
This is true. That's
so,
true.
Like, WB wants our opinion, you know, and that's why they bring us out there. And that's what I feel like I've given you completely. And
Remember that FPS
honestly.
sections
And
for a night.
play in the back.
They was fiending for a different genre.
Sadot would say skill issue if I'm struggling, but I don't think I am. I think I'm hyped.
Skill issue.
People. This is one of the things I love doing is playing with people, and this game has cross play. It has cross progression. It really is well thought out and well structured to let everybody be together and just have fun shooting aliens in the and maybe the Justice League. You can shoot them in the face too, because I did, and it was great. That whole encounter was really cool. So I'm looking forward to playing more. I'm looking forward to playing with everybody. I'm looking forward to watching my friends' coverage. It was really awesome to get to meet Lejeune for the first time. We got to go out to dinner.
Shout Lejeune.
Obviously, Uncaged Games and Caboose are probably sick of seeing me. I'm kidding. Maybe. But like, yeah, man, like, thank you WB for always taking care of me.
They forced the tank battle
really, like,
in Arkham Knight. They've been done with
that.
Batman.
I'm so thirsty. It's very dry here. And I hope that I was able to kind of relay a little bit about the game. I can probably go deep diving on some of the different podcasts that I'll be doing. Obviously, on every Friday we do the after show podcast,
right,
with myself and Sadot the Gamer. So we'll be live then.
And it just popped up in the chat too.
Again, to the way I can present some of the footage here. So keeping that in mind, I just tried to put together a lot of little clips that made sense, and you know, hopefully you enjoyed seeing that in the background. For now, I'm going to play you my theme song, the Jay Shock Blast song, with a little bit more gameplay in the background. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The game is coming on February 2nd. And if you do, again, get the deluxe edition, you can have 72 hours of early access on January 30th. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please don't steal my video. I've got watermarks and everything.
Yes, don't steal his video.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Yeah, he did not play the theme song. I was looking forward to hearing the theme song.
This is Icarus ass shit.
Where is the Jay Shock Blast theme song? Clickbait. Clickbait. False advertising.
Whoops! Whew. You four got its attention.
So this is Deadshot with the freeze perk. Can we just appreciate how little aim he has? You look at the absolute marksmanship of Jay Shock last year with his Deadshot. He's got a sniper rifle and he is 5 feet away. And he misses. And he misses another one. Holy. Deadshot never misses unless Jay Shock Blast is in control. Bro couldn't hit with a sniper rifle from 5 feet away. Skill issue. Forgot his theme song. Can't snipe. At least he's better than the IGN player. The IGN reviewer was awful. I know they were getting carried. No, they didn't even get carried. I think they just rage quit. Jay shot. That shot never misses, but Jay does. Jay Deadshot.
your squad leader, and I thought you'd never amount to anything.
Winner was a Caboose.
Do I have you see that?
Always hard carrying.
Good stuff. Real collector's item.
I ended the joke. No, facts. That review was horrible. Do we see the stats? How much? Can we see how much better Caboose was than everyone else? Looks like that's the score. Caboose 9,935. Like fourth place was 7,075. I believe that is definitely a J Shock Blast with his Deadshot. came in last on the scoreboard. Better luck next time. Caboose hard carrying as usual. Shout out to J Shock Class. Definitely go subscribe if you haven't already. We were close. You were close, but he was only off by like 2,000. Only like 2,000 points. June had 24K at one point. June was definitely the sweaty one in his group. Definitely getting this on Steam. PS5 skins aren't enough to sway. Also paying for online. Fair. Perfectly fair. And on PC, you got the mods. That's always a good incentive to play a game on PC if you have that option. Pretty much that's the only incentive to me. I love playing on console. He is distracted by naked Boomerang. Excuses. Well, since we did Jay, we did Lejeune, we did Caboose. Now we got to complete that photo. The most iconic photo in DC history of J Shock Blast, Caboose, Uncaged, Lejeune. Let's check out what Uncaged had to say about Suicide Squad Kill Justice League. It's only right that we did everyone else in the photo. Can't forget about Uncaged games. You want the General Zod weapon? Yeah, I want the Bizarro weapon. I definitely want to explore more of those notorious gear drops to see how good they all are. The Zod one was a surprise. Imagine this game running on 120 FPS with your 120 Hz monitor. Whew. Yeah, the sensory overload, man, it's crazy. I can't wait to see how this performs on launch.
End of last year, Warner Brother Games and Rocksteady Studio flew me out to LA to play Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Funny enough, this was my first time playing the game at this event. And another funny enough is I think the week before that event happened, they had the private alpha beta invite for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League for the public. I got invited to that,
IGN
but
private
I wasn't able
review.
to play because I was
Word?
busy. So at this event, it was my first time playing the game. So everything that I'm going to talk about in this video was my experience from the build I was playing.
Hold up, no way. I wanted to clip that. Actually, I recorded it. I can clip it off of mine. I can clip my reaction. Holy, no way. They didn't do that. Did they actually? Bro, that would be hilarious. Because I knew that review was embarrassing, but I didn't think they cared. It's still up. No, it's still up for me. Let me download it just in case. I don't want that one going anywhere. That is a review everybody should see. All right, I got it. All right, let's continue.
Playing at the event. So thank you again, Warner Brother Games, Rocksteady Studios, for flying me out to this event to capture
Miller said it.
Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. With that being said, I give you guys my honest thoughts, all right? There's no sugarcoating. If I love something, I'll say
I downloaded
it.
it just in
I'll say
case.
it. And guess what? There are things I don't like about the game, but surprisingly, there's a lot of good things I like about the game. So, let's start off on a high note, shall we? The gameplay in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is a lot more enjoyable than I was expecting. The movement is great. Your character's movements don't feel sluggish like some other games, some other superhero games, not saying which ones, but you guys know when you play them and you feel like, oh man, why does it feel like my character has 10 times more weight than they should have walking around the city? This game doesn't have that issue. I was playing King Shark and he felt like the fastest character in the game, which is funny because he's a giant shark and there's a guy on the team with the power of the Speed Force. Now, originally, I was going to play Captain Boomerang as my main because he has the power of the Speed Force. That's freaking awesome. And King Shark, surprisingly enough, was my least wanted character to play, and the only reason why he was lower on my list was because I thought he was going to be one of the slowest characters in the game. But from what I heard, I believe the developer says that all the characters' movement speeds are pretty similar to one another, so one character is not going to be extremely slow. They're all going to be getting from point A to point B pretty much the same time, which is great because I don't want to be playing online co-op and Captain Boomerang with the Speed Force is already waiting for the next mission, waiting for like 10 minutes for the rest of the team to catch up. I'm glad all the characters' movement speeds and traversals are pretty equal.
Unless you're J Shock less, you'll be chilling behind.
Shark, that Superman outfit, because man, I actually do feel like Superman as King Shark. I am like leaping and flying around all over the place. Not really flying, but like falling with style. Before I go into this next topic here, I will say I was one of the people
King Shark,
that
best
were
character
on the fence about this. The Suicide Squad using guns. Now, Deadshot, of course, he's gonna use guns. All right. Harley Quinn, sure, she's gonna use guns. But the thing is, when I saw Captain Boomerang using guns and not his actual boomerangs, I was like, why? After getting my hands on the game for a little bit, I actually don't mind them using guns. Yes, you can still use the boomerang for Captain Boomerang. You can still use the melee attacks for the characters, but they're more of like finisher moves or starting the combo. You really want to use the guns to mow down the enemies because a lot of enemies, and yes, you can still clear the areas with just melee. It'll just take a lot longer, and I'll be honest, I had so much fun being King Shark using his giant freaking minigun or whatever and just mowing down the competition. It was just
there you have it.
You know those videos where it's like the most satisfying thing you've ever seen and they have a compilation of a bunch of things? Me mowing down the cronies, the henchmen's with King Shark is going to be in that compilation next because that's how satisfying it was using the guns. Gunplay, I don't mind it. It actually feels nice. It actually feels fun.
It's actually crazy how much better the content creator videos are. Facts, bro.
It's not fun. But like overall, the two things I was concerned about, the movement and the guns, I'm now a believer. The next thing that I enjoy.
So Uncaged, just obviously in pretty much every way, his video is better than the IGN video, just like all the other creator videos we watched so far. But he straight up admitted from the beginning he was ready to not like this game. He had problems with it going in. Unlike the IGN guy who pretended like he was giving it a fair shake and then just spent like a full 3 minutes talking about how much he loved the Arkham combat. Like Uncaged is like, yep, I had problems. I was like, I saw the game. I was like, I don't like this. I was ready to come in and be like, yo, this game's trash. He actually played it and he's actually explaining what he liked about it.
Enjoyed about the game was the co-op. Usually when I get invited out to these events, they put me in front of the game and then I play and record by myself. But for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, they had us play and record in a group. Some might even say we're a squad. I'm sorry. Something I was really worried about is not being able to travel the map without being tethered to your teammates. In other words, you're not fully allowed to free roam without being chained to your teammates. If you go a certain distance away from your team members, the game will stop you from moving, or they put up invisible walls. I'm happy to report that I didn't have any of those issues with the game. I was able to go super far away from my teammates, take out a bunch of enemies, and then regroup with them later on with ease. There was nothing saying, oh, if you go too far, you're gonna die. Maybe there is in the game, but I felt...
Yep, this is correct. So Jay was talking about how he got too far away from the group and he self-destructed. When you're not doing a mission, when you're not doing an active mission, like trying to start one with a clear objective, you can go anywhere you want. Like if you're playing with other people, you can free roam the whole map. You can do all that. But if you're playing with other people and one of you starts a mission, it'll have like this little circle that you have to stand in, and it'll give you 30 seconds to get into the circle so that the mission can start. Just like pretty much every multiplayer online game has a similar mechanic where you have to basically queue up. It's basically you're ready up. You have to ready up, but otherwise you're not tethered. You can explore. It doesn't matter. As long as someone doesn't trigger a mission start countdown sequence, the teams can explore as much as they want to beat enemies on wherever parts of the map. But once someone starts that mission, the countdown starts and you have to get to that ready up part. That's all.
Felt like I was going pretty far and I had no issues whatsoever, so that actually makes the game feel open world, and I'm all for it. I think now
someone said there was a spoiler in the IGN review.
The cons, or the things
they had to re-upload
like about the game, because there are things I didn't like. The first thing I want to talk about that I didn't really like,
I don't even remember the spoiler,
is there's too much going on the screen. There's too much happening on your hood. Now, there were a few times where I was playing and I felt like there was way too much going on my screen that I was kind of getting overwhelmed. This was very apparent when I was fighting the Flash boss fight. Yes, I know Flash is a fast character. He is the fastest man alive. But him moving extremely fast from one point to another, and tornadoes happening, and the damage numbers popping up, and your ammo bar being shown every time you shoot, I found myself needing to stop moving to regroup.
I don't even know what would be a spoiler.
That was happening on my screen. Now, with that being said, I did mention this concern to the developers while I was there, and they said there is an option to turn off a lot of the hood information, so you could take off the damage numbers you do to enemies and stuff like that. I didn't get to mess around with that, but that could help out when I play the full game. But I had to mention this concern because, well, I had to play it and I didn't get to play it without
turn off the hood,
all this numbers and information on my screen. Now, with that being said, of there's too much going on the screen, my next con is that there isn't enough things happening on the screen as well. You might be saying, what are you talking about? I'm talking about the city life. If you thought the city in Batman Arkham Knight felt empty, the city life in Suicide Squad is like non-existent. Yes, I get that Brainiac has invaded and corrupted a lot of people, so you're not going to see little Jimmy walking down the street, but having people in the streets makes the city
probably
feel
them
bigger
saying,
and alive.
which is those of us who read the Miller article know was wrong.
Signs of life. There are a couple missions where you have to save these people that are hiding in vents, and you take them out and you put them in a bus, and the bus will transport them to safety. But like, it's like 3 people. I would like to see civilians in like a safe bunker or something trying to fight off the enemies, and you go team up with them. Or you see a civilian running for their life on the streets, and you come in and you knock out the enemies and then you save them like that. Stuff like that would help make the city feel more alive. The last little section here is not really a con or a pro, it's more of a I don't know, and that is the customization. I put the customization in the I don't know category because I'm not really sure how I feel about it yet. I love having the ability to change my character skins, which you can do in this game, but you can also change up their guns and their gun attributes. Like, you can make your gun turn to like a freeze gun where your bullets freezes the enemy, or there's a zero gravity gun that you can bounce the enemies up and then your teammates can do finishing blows.
Doesn't sound like Uncaged is like a
attribute change
Doesn't sound like Uncaged is like a big looter shooter guy, which makes sense. That's not really his game. So I understand why this section he's put down there he doesn't know how to feel. But like you could tell Lejeune is like about that life. You know, he's all about gear and crafting and customization. Like so, he was able to do a bigger deep dive into that. But Uncaged seems like definitely the type that you would want to try this out. He's not necessarily a big looter shooter guy. He was skeptical about the game. Yeah, he does a lot of fighting games, MK1, stuff like that.
That you can do with the weapons in this game. I love customization as much as the next guy, but sometimes I feel less is more. I don't hate how much things you can change up for your character's weapon loadout in this game, but I feel like some people would just pick the highest rarity gun and go from there. The developer did say having the highest rarity gun doesn't always mean it's the best gun. There are certain weapon loadout combos you want to equip to make more damage. So if you rock a fire grenade and fire shotgun and then like another fire blade, a whole combo loadout
Miller's
which
in the
does
hospital.
more damage, which is cool, but I feel like a lot of people will not have the patience to be like, oh, I'm gonna use fire, and they're just gonna pick, oh, this gun is gold, so I'm gonna use this gun. I need more time with the weapon customization. The only real customization I really got to do was make my gun a freeze gun. But the skins though, I love character skins. Give me all the skins. But those were my thoughts on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Overall, still very excited to play the game. The story is amazing already. Like the parts we saw in the game were freaking awesome, and I can't wait to see the rest of it play out. I'm excited for it. The gameplay, I'm happy to say it's fun. The co-op is amazing. I think this game has to be played co-op because when playing with my group, it was a lot more enjoyable because we're making fun of each other of, oh, you think you're gonna get this kill? No, I'm gonna get it. And there's kind of like a leaderboard thing after a mission, so it shows you which one of your teammates did the best, and you kind of wanted to have bragging rights. You'd be like, yo, why you sleeping? Did you only got 2 kills? It's pretty fun. So co-op, I feel like, is gonna be the way you want to play this game, and that's probably how I'm gonna play it when it comes out. But those are my honest thoughts on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Thank you again to Warner Brother Games and Rocksteady Studios for flying me out to LA to play and record the game. I had a great time. The game's not perfect, but it's a lot better than I expected. Let me know your thoughts.
Got to Uncaged. I just saw Miller is sick and is on his way to a hospital. Hope he feels better. Also, the leaked announcement for all you Xbox players. They just confirmed. I saw Tom Henderson tweet about this morning that they were going to announce a Xbox Direct, which they did. It's happening on the 18th, and we're going to get our first look at the Indiana Jones game that's coming to Xbox. So there's that. Comic Historian dropped his review. So far, IGN obviously hated it. The content creators seem to enjoy it. Uncaged Games was the most skeptical, but he had fun. Did Game Informer post yet? No, they did Pacific Drive. But they didn't post theirs. And Comic Historians just dropped 2 minutes ago. The actual gamers played it. I'm not even sure if the IGN reviewer even played it. Like, to keep it a buck. Like, listen to that review, it kind of feels like they just looked at the footage that Rocksteady sent them and just went off the top. Like, maybe they played it like a little bit. It does not sound like they spent very much time playing the game, bro. That was a horrible review. I can't believe how bad that was. So far, I think the most we've learned in terms of new stuff about Suicide Squad is from Lejeune's video. I mean, pretty much everything else, they weren't allowed to go into too much detail. We got to learn a little more about the Flash boss fight. But I think most of the new info might have been from Lejeune's video. Because he dropped the info about how you can basically farm for your friend. You can have a friend who's offline. You can bring in their character into your session, and all the gear drops that you both get, they'll have it when they log in. That's a really cool feature. He went into more detail about the gear. We got to see the emote wheel in action from the J Shock Blast video. You already know IGN is going to give a little, for sure. But yeah, that's the thing. We obviously always joke about IGN because I legitimately have never let IGN sway my opinion about whether or not I'm going to get a game or not. Like, I've literally never taken that into account. And it is a meme, but, you know, sometimes I do have art reviews, but this review is like actually noticeably bad. Like, even by IGN standards, this is like low effort, complete nonsense. Like, this might be more memeable than exaggerated swagger of a black teen. I'm gonna post the clip from that interview. From that review. It's so funny. Did we learn anything about character XP? No, they didn't go into detail about character XP. Let's check out Comic Storian. His just dropped. He's an Arkham guy, so this should be interesting.
Everyone, it's time. I made an entire video about the controversies of the Suicide Squad. Now it's time to talk about whether or not I liked the game or didn't, and basically, what did I learn from playing the game. But first, it's time to talk about... Oh, hold on. It's time to talk about Suicide Squad.
So while this game is trash, you definitely didn't play it. You understand why they don't make a Justice League game. That would be good. No one has powers. That's literally a lie. Yeah, you definitely did play it. That's the thing. That's like the most memeable. Like, if you're stereotyping Suicide Squad haters, this would be pretty much it. This is the person who literally can't just say the game wasn't for me. They have to just make stuff up about it. Like, obviously, first of all, Harley Quinn is not a C-lister. She's literally, I think, outside of Batman, Harley is probably the most popular character in DC right now. So, like, this is a person who literally just has no idea what they're talking about. And you clearly have powers. We've been streaming for 2 hours. We've seen King Shark leaping across the city. Captain Boomerang is literally using the Speed Force, and this person still comes in and says, "The game, there's no power. no one has any powers. You're just using guns." Like that. That's pretty much the average Suicide Squad hater. Like, they do no research. They have no idea what they're talking about. They're just chatting because it's whether they wanted a Justice League game or they wanted a Batman game. The game isn't what they wanted, so they're just going to have just completely bad faith arguments. So that's a clear sign. Whenever you see someone use those like buzzwords like C-list characters, no one has powers, assume that person didn't play the game, has absolutely no idea what they're talking about, and you should completely dismiss their opinion. listen to people like Uncaged Games or somebody who will say that it's not the game that they were looking for, but who will actually give you like an analysis of how the game is, even if it's not for them. Like, because there's going to be a lot of people who are going to convince you the game is the worst game ever, and it's literally them just making stuff up. Like, I literally had a bunch of people yesterday trying to say that the game, oh, it's bad because they're showing DLC, because they're, it's stuff they're paywalling. Like, they've been telling us for like 9 months now, all the DLC is free, but you have still people pushing this fake narrative that, oh, everything's locked behind a paywall. Like, these people are actually sick. Like, it's crazy.
Why did I pour it from one glass to another? Why not? And for the sake of not getting in trouble, WB did fly me out to LA to meet Rocksteady and play this game. This video is not an ad. I was allowed to say whatever I wanted, but I do have to let you know that I was flown out there on their dime to play the game. So
gotta let them know.
You know the situation. I don't want anyone to say, what? Anyway, let's move on. Now, for those of you who are here looking for the controversies of Suicide Squad, I covered them all in a video. I discussed my opinions on the leaked storyline and the opinions of the fact that it was a fake leaked storyline, and my opinions on the idea of using Kevin Conroy as this being his last role. Just to reiterate the Kevin Conroy situation, the man knew what he signed up for. He picked it. He actually said in his last years that he enjoyed doing an evil Batman, which is why he also came back to do Batman Beyond in the CW as an evil Batman. The link to that video will be down below. It turned out to be quite long of me discussing the controversies, but if you are interested in that, it'll be there. Today's video is going to be discussing the gameplay elements, what I enjoyed, what I didn't enjoy, how I feel about it being in the Arkhamverse, and then we're going to be discussing the story elements that I got to experience. We'll also discuss the one controversy I didn't touch on in the previous video, which is the Poison Ivy thing at the very ending. Just figured I'd let you guys know up front.
Poison Ivy. No, I'm already over the Poison Ivy discourse.
I'm ready to do that. Let's start it off at the beginning. In order to understand my opinion on this game, I feel like you should understand what kind of gamer I am. I am the multiplayer looter shooter MMO RPG, plays a game because it's a live service, because he can never stop playing with his buddies kind of a guy. What I mean is, I play Final Fantasy XIV. I play World of Warcraft. I play Destiny. Wow, I took one sip for the sake of a skit. Come on. I play Destiny. I play Borderlands. I play Lethal Company. I play Fortnite.
So this is just,
I play Among Us.
So this is his type of game.
What I'm getting at is, I'm the kind of gamer who actually sits down and I look for games that I can play with my group of friends. Now, that means that we actually enjoyed Avengers to an extent, because any game you play with your friends is more fun. And when a game is broken like Avengers, it leads to more laughs and hilarity.
Cloud, if you want to know what happens to Batman, literally just go on line, read Miller Ross's article for Xputer about Suicide Squad. If you're so curious about what happens with Batman, what happens with that, just go read Miller's article.
One of the best games that a lot of my buddies like to play is the one that I hate. It's called Ark. And their exact statement is, it is so janky, that's why it's fun. It's also why I don't like Ark. So what I'm saying is, I liked Gotham Knights. I liked Avengers. And I'm telling you now, I enjoyed Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. Now, before you leave, Katrina, let me explain what I mean by I liked the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. Because while I know George and Alex are huge fans of the Arkham franchise, that's why I liked this game. It's not an Arkham game. When we think of an Arkham game, you think of being Batman, that insane sense of power. You think of the ability to sneak around the city, do it stealthily, do it loud, go in with gadgets, go
Another one likes the game.
And crazy like power-ups and stuff like that. You think about taking out Batman's...
Thanks, Lucky Ray.
And that's fun. That's exactly why we like the Arkham franchise. But when I sat down and played Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, I played as Captain Boomerang because, one, I wanted to
he's the
see
superior.
what Captain Boomerang does with guns. And
He's
why
superior
it's
gamer.
fun or isn't fun. And two, because I want to run fast. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog. Gotta go faster, faster, gotta go fast. That was me. But playing the game, the best thing, because everyone's like, oh, it looks like Fortnite. It looks stupid. It doesn't look like Arkham. It's not. It's not Arkham. It felt like Crackdown meets Fortnite to me. That's what it felt like. I was running around the city, and this is the first thing I'll tell you about.
They won over a comic story.
Of me running around. I'm using the Speed Force.
They're definitely going to say they paid him to say this.
The city is populated with the primary missions you need to go to. But on the way there, you have things like Riddler races, where they put up a bunch of portals and you need to run through them. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. But what made it more fun was racing against the 3 other people that I was playing with. Because King Shark was beating me. Because he could just jump super long distances. But on top of that, we would then do things for upgrades, such as do a horde mode, where we would spend 10 minutes fighting off a ton of enemies. The enemies would spawn on the buildings around us, adding verticality to our movement on the map. So I would have to
shout out to horde mode.
Use the Speed Force to teleport. Apparently that's an ability that Boomerang can do, and I'll explain that in a minute. To teleport up to a different building, and if I fell short, run across it at Speed Force levels to catch up to the new enemy. Or you would have to do things like rescue the civilians that are showing up.
Fortnite, I think he meant in terms of the shooting, the particle effects.
To teleport as high up as I can to try and attack the choppers. You know who can't attack the choppers? Captain Boomerang. Our Deadshot took care of that. There was also a lot of fun verticality in the city. There's a whole point, and I doubt we can find the footage for it, where I just stopped running around with the team.
Also, Captain Boomerang can actually attack the choppers. Skill issue. the helicopters in the game, you can actually get up there with Captain Boomerang. It's a skill issue.
And I found a way to teleport myself onto a broken bridge that ran throughout Metropolis.
Comic service dope to play with.
Tried
nice.
To run through it as fast as I could and not fall off of it. It was just fun moving around. The traversal was insane, and I was having a good time with it. Captain Boomerang is more of the up close and personal character, which is actually where I'm going to comment about the Boomerang. Everyone's like, how do you feel about Captain Boomerang using guns? First off, Captain Boomerang does use guns, but you're right. He primarily uses his boomerang, and he does in this game as well if you want to. Captain Boomerang throws the boomerang, it's charged with the Speed Force, you teleport to it, and then you can run with more Speed Force. Or you can do melee combat by using the boomerang. I don't know about you, but I've never been to the Australian outback, which is where I assume is the only place that they're going to use boomerangs. Because who the hell uses a boomerang? I'm pretty sure a boomerang can't go as far as a bullet. Hence why he would use the guns and then the boomerang. The boomerang melee attack is actually very strong, and there's a bunch of cool finishers. There's this one where Captain Boomerang takes the boomerang, and he shoves it right up that guy's, and then he just rams that, like splitting him in half. Blood and guts and all kinds of stuff is going everywhere. And it's awesome.
It's awesome.
It's so cool to see the things that he can do with the boomerang.
You just got done watching
But
it.
he has to use the gun, because otherwise I'm running around trying to melee everybody while Deadshot is sniping them from across the map. I feel like the use of the guns for the characters is more as an equalizer, because if King Shark and Captain Boomerang need to use their melee abilities primarily, and Deadshot kills everyone, that's not fun. If you've ever played a co-op game with your buddies and you're trying to run around and do the melee stuff, you notice that you don't get a lot of kills in. That's because your friends are killing them. But it makes more sense if everybody
played Deadshot personally?
Because what I was doing is running around with an assault rifle.
Boomerang is a superior.
As I got closer, and if I got to the enemy,
Boomerang best character in the game.
Up with my boomerang melee abilities. King Shark played the exact same way, except that he could leap massive distances to the point where it was kind of funny that I couldn't run that fast. Why would Captain Boomerang use the Speed Force and not run that fast? The answer is simple. He's using a broken gadget from the Hall of Justice that doesn't really work like the Speed Force, but it saps some of the power. So he can't run at Flash level speeds, which is funny when I get to the Flash boss fight. Playing the game, running around the city in general, felt good. The traversal was amazing. It was a lot of fun. Playing the characters felt good, and every character felt 100% unique from each other. Captain Boomerang, I was able to throw the boomerang around and warp to it.
Stop listening to other people experience games and go play them for yourself. Ah, yes. Wonderful sage advice, Van. Thank you so much. What a great idea. Yes. Instead of watching other people and listening to them experience the game, we all should fly to California. We should all fly out to the Warner Brothers studio lot, go into the studio theater, and go grab the game from the devs and make them set it up so that we can play it, even though it's not released yet. What a brilliant observation. Yes, we should all just never listen to anyone's opinion about any game. Absolute bozo. Shout out to Kevin for the 489. Hyped as hell. Hope the Justice League makes their Vaz comeback at Brainiac. Hell yeah. Bro,
top speeds, and then
people really just be chatting. I swear people just be chatting.
do crazy melee attacks.
They literally will just say anything. Just say any, no thought, just will say anything.
King Shark had this awesome minigun, but then he would just leap into the middle of combat and just wreck everyone. Harley Quinn's like grappling hook all over the place, using the Batarang to throw it up there and then hook to it and go. And Deadshot's using a jetpack to fly around and do sniper shots. Nothing I just said sounds like an Arkham game. That's what I'm getting at when I try to describe the kind of gamer that I am. This sounds like a fun time with your buddies. In terms of the actual story segments, the story itself.
Exactly. Forget reviews. Just assume the game is just something you got to play. Like, yeah, should I watch reviews of Gollum? Seems like a lot of people think it's bad. No. You got to experience games for yourself. Band said so. Don't listen to reviews of Gollum. Go spend $60 and find out for yourself if the game sucks. Bozo.
Felt like Arkham. The way the story was being told. The characters acted like their Arkham counterparts. Batman acted like Batman from Arkham. The story itself felt on the level and quality from what I got to play, which was only a small section of Chapter 3. I want to throw that caveat out there right now in case this was the polished story segment and the rest of it's just a mess. What I got to play felt on par with the Arkham storytelling and the cutscenes and on like what I'm looking for. From what I got to play, it looks like Rocksteady has put together a fun co-op version of Batman that they're going to turn into a live service, and I'll comment the live services in a minute. Now let's talk about the characters and what you can do with them in general. One thing that I really, really did enjoy, there is no leveling up in the game. Anybody who has played Destiny or Avengers or Gotham Knights or any of these co-op story-driven games with their buddies knows the annoyance when you get halfway through the story and your other buddy buys the game and now you have to start over because he's not at the right level to play with you and you can't really go to him because you're going to destroy everything. So it turns into you hard carrying your buddy, or it turns into your buddy having to play alone and you can't play without him. They removed levels in their entirety from what I noticed. What we're getting.
Yep. No levels. That's why no matter what piece of gear you get, you don't have to worry about having to increase its like scaling it up or anything, or just dropping at a too low a level. You have to get rid of it. Instead, you gain XP, which you then turn into skill points. Like once you reach that threshold, you get a skill point, which then you can use to buy skills. But there's no level system.
Instead is just skill points. So there's like a light level system. We're all kind of on the same playing field except for the skill points. It's not like I'm going to be stronger than my friend by baseline because of that. The guns are also not at levels. Anybody who's played Borderlands or Destiny will know how amazing that feels. Because the most annoying thing ever when playing a game that has loot is when you get levels. Anybody who points. It's not like I'm going to.
So there's a skill tree. Can you respect? I'm not sure if he's going to talk about that.
going to be stronger than my friend by baseline because of that.
He's not showing it in the video.
Guns are also not at levels. Anybody who's played Borderlands or Destiny will know how amazing that feels. Because the most annoying
But
thing
yes,
ever
you can
when
respect.
playing a game that has loot is when you get the loot at a low level and then you have to throw it away because this random garbage gun is so much better than what you picked up. I asked them about that. I'm like, are the guns just never going to be at levels, or is this the build you're letting me play? And their response was, we didn't want you to have to replace guns. Instead, all the weapons, gear, and everything about it is all going to play into a certain build idea that we had in mind. So, for example, one of the build, they gave me all the guns and the equipment to make a build called Turkey Shoot work. What that does, and I do know I got some of that footage for Dan to see, is I can freeze the enemies, which pops them into the air using the Speed Force, and then it's a turkey shoot. I can just blast them all as I want. And then when they land, I just start ripping into them with my boomerang. That was just one of 4 possible builds in the test build that we got to play. That's where the game's progression seems to be. Unlocking costumes, working on your skill
So
set,
happy about level
and
gear.
getting guns
Hell yeah.
that you can actually just use whenever you feel like they're going to be fun to use. You're running around the city.
Rockstar, you
doing
cook with that.
races, you're doing,
Yeah, that system really gets
rescue
annoying.
the prisoners or rescue the survivors, and you're doing horde mode stuff. And then you're doing story-driven things. That seems to be the general flow of the game from what I got to play. Again, I want to say, from what I got to play. Now let's talk about the Flash. We'll be able to use a little bit of the footage here. None of this footage is mine. They gave us some B-roll of the Flash's fight going well. But I'll tell you the story of what happened in my particular fight. So the way the game ends up working out is we end up going out there, and it's almost Mega Man style. You need to find a way to defeat the Flash. The Flash is able to outrun everything. I'm going to give Dan a cutscene right now that we're allowed to use, and shows Deadshot trying to just shoot the Flash. It's hilarious.
Who's watching Echo? Everybody.
The shot already!
That's the Flash? You might as well post him the bullet.
Did you get him?
Speed demon!
Man, you know it's gone to hell when you... Really? Why don't you just mail me the bullet?
So what ends up happening is you go on a quest for Toy Man, Toy Master, Toy Guy, Toy Boy. He's not the Toy Man we're used to. Let's just go with that. And it's basically to find a way to slow the Flash down temporarily using anti-Speed Force bullets, not anti-Speed Force boomerangs. Sorry, Captain Boomerang fans. And basically the way it works is we go into combat and you have to use these anti-Speed Force bullets to stop the Flash slow enough so that you can actually do damage to him. It doesn't kill him or injure him. It slows him so that we can actually hurt him. To me, I got very much Mega Man vibes off of that. You know, where you go do something to get the power to do this thing to the boss. That's what it felt like to me. You then proceed to fight the Flash in what was a pretty epic battle. Now, in our battle, it ran down to me and one other person. I want to say King Shark. We were the only 2 alive, or maybe Deadshot. It was down to the 2 of us. I'm at top speed running around the map trying to outrun Speed Force tornadoes while running into Speed Force tornadoes, because you try running at top speed around a map avoiding tornadoes when there's tornadoes in front of you. It's not easy. It's like a minute to get the hang of Captain Boomerang, all right? And we're taking shots of the Flash. What happens is you end up defeating the Flash, right? As we all know. And the name of the game is what actually happens. The Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. Or do they? We're shown an off-panel. We're shown basically that Captain Boomerang kills him, but we don't actually see the death. Now, that could mean he's alive. That could mean that they injured him. It could mean a number of things. That could mean they kill him. Who knows what's actually happening?
Feels like Lejeune.
It's implied that Captain Boomerang does it, and it is in seeing it in the video, in the actual cutscene. And it's also implied that he's kind of heartbroken about it. Now, there is something I forgot to mention about the actual combat, and I want to bring it up here because I mentioned Speed Force bullets to slow guys down. A lot of you are going to be like, well, what about the classic Rocksteady combat, where you can do classic counters and stuns and stuff like that? They actually have guns for that, as weird as that is. So, like, certain enemies can do 2 different things, which in my version, we had 2 different things you could do. And you have different moves where you whip out another gun to do a counter or a stun. So that's still in there with the guns, which I found to be a bit weird. But once I got the hang of it, it really flowed well. And that's pretty much the game in my opinions on it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed my time with it. Will it be as fun alone?
He's definitely going to get a lot of hate for this video.
Any game that I've ever played is just a blast when it comes to playing it with friends. Like I said, you can get the jankiest, most broken game ever, Avengers, and it's fun when
not
you got
Avengers catching a stray,
all joking around, all going, "Look at me! Look how stupid I am! Oh no, I'm stuck in the wall!" You know, it's just fun.
Not Marvel's Avengers catching a stray
and stuff like that. Now let's talk about the live service element. I'm a firm believer that a live service is a good thing, and I know that's the pitchforks and the torches are coming out. But here's the caveat: the live service has to be done properly. If you look at a game like Fortnite, it's amazing what they do with that live service. Like you at no point will you go, "Oh, you want to play Fortnite? Oh, that game's so old. I beat it so long ago." No, you're going to go, "Oh man, what have I missed in Fortnite?" Destiny sometimes gets it right. Sometimes they don't. It's very debatable.
Sure.
I mentioned Destiny, and Dan's watching this to make sure I don't flub up any stupid stuff, and he literally went, But look at things like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV. There's a constant flow of content. In my opinion, what makes a good live service versus a bad live service is not a roadmap or whatever. It's just constant things to do, constant content. The moment I get tired of a live service is when there's nothing to do. So if you tell me that there's going to be a Suicide Squad game with free characters and free updates that all play into a live service, and there's going to be multiple seasons that are already planned out, supposedly we have 4 seasons already planned, so you're telling me that I have a game that I can play for a couple of weeks, get some fun skins, get off the game, and then come back in 2 months and play the game again with a new character and my old skins and then just keep going. I'm on board with that. Now, I like it. But again, it comes down to a live service being handled well and how it's monetized. That's a whole video in itself. I'm not going to go into that here, but it sounds like they're giving away free content in Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, which means that they're probably going to be making you buy the battle pass and they're making you buy costumes. And if that's what it boils down to, I'm on board with this live service. Buts around. If you don't want that, from what we've seen leaked and what's going on and what they've said, the game is an offline mode. You can just go play the baseline story, get to the ending, and call it a day. That's the end of that. And that is, in my opinion, the best situation. WB wants a live service that's never going to end, and you're telling me that the story of Brainiac and the Suicide Squad will end, but then have continual adventures? I'm on board. But if you're a gamer who just wants to get to the end of the game,
shout out to Avengers,
and be done, you also have that option, it seems. So now I've gotten to this point in the video. Let me just give you my opinion on the Poison Ivy controversy, since I haven't. For those who don't know what the Poison Ivy controversy is, one of the trailers shows Poison Ivy revived, but as a child. Then Harley Quinn is talking to Poison Ivy, and the internet at large took that as
you saw Aquaman with comic story in.
I have seen that full clip. Okay? Let me explain. I have seen the full clip. It's in my video feed. I was actually at the chapter we played at. Harley Quinn, as far as I'm concerned, is not hitting on Poison Ivy. Why would people assume that she is? Because after the first Arkham game, when there was no relationship between Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, the rest of the DC universe kind of established this Harley Quinn Poison Ivy relationship to the point where Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy are dating in the Harley Quinn cartoon show. So people see her making a comment at a young Poison Ivy and they just assume that Harley Quinn is hitting on a young Poison Ivy. I've played that whole segment out and gotten Poison Ivy back to where she has to go. My take was that they were not in any way anything beyond we know each other and we're friends. There was never anything that came across to me as a romantic gesture or a romantic implication. Nothing. I'm sure somebody's going to tell me I'm wrong, but I'm just telling you what I saw playing that chapter.
He actually played it.
And that's pretty much it. I think I covered all the general...
Obviously, the people who didn't play the game, who have strong opinions, are going to say he's wrong. But that's his opinion as someone who actually played it. We will see. But I think the Harley Quinn controversy was definitely overblown. I can see why there was like an implication because of the whole. She said something about them, friends, Poison Ivy and Harley Forever, whatever, name and lights or whatever. That I think it was that comment. Because but that's because it implied that they had a much closer relationship in the Arkham games than they actually did. But the whole romance thing, people were, I was watching and people were just like reaching, like really hard. Like, oh, she says she's fun size. Yeah, because she's tiny. She's not supposed to be. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it seemed like they kind of retconned their relationship a little bit because we didn't really get the vibe they were close at all in the Arkham games, especially since Ivy literally gets betrayed by Harley in Arkham Knight, because at the end of the day, Harley's loyalty was to the Joker, and she sided with Scarecrow's plan. But yeah, I thought that was just a non-story for the most part. Culture Warriors going to Culture Warrior though. Captain Boomerang's still the GOAT though. Best character in the game. But I will play some Harley if they give us some good skins. So we saw J Shock last, we saw Lejeune, Comic Storian, Uncaged, Caboose. Unfortunately, IGN. I'd say IGN definitely had by far the worst impression video. It just kind of shows that these kind of big media companies are just kind of out of style, because you learn nothing from that IGN video. Whereas watching Comic Storian, watching Lejeune, watching these creators who actually went out there and seemed to care, they gave you like an actual well thought out analysis and information. IGN left a bunch of stuff out. The guy was clearly terrible at the game. It was really pathetic. So at the very least, whether you like it or not, it's nice to hear people who actually can give like a detailed breakdown so that people can make their own decision. I'd say out of everyone we watched, Uncaged was like one of the bigger skeptics going in, but they all seem to enjoy the game. I'm sure people are going to say they were paid to say everything, but seemed genuine, seemed Uncaged. I know a lot of them were definitely, you could see, skeptical going in, but seemed to have won them over. So from what I'm gathering, and I said this a while ago, I think Suicide Squad is going to surprise a lot of people. People are going to be surprised by how well it's reviewed, how well players are enjoying it. And they're going to realize like a lot of the noise were just from bad faith Arkham fans who just wanted the game to fail. Like if the best you can do is say IGN hates it, like you already know you're already on the right track if IGN doesn't like it. Like, because no one actually takes IGN seriously. Subdivide, yep, we alive. We just wrapped up Comic Storians, our review, and we're done. So here's the thing. Here we another have a classic up of Vader. You're saying it's trash, but you're here. Obviously, you've made up your mind about the game already, but you're here. You see what I'm saying? Like, we saw this same kind of just fatherless behavior in the Avengers community. If you looked at a game and you legitimately was like, "Oh, that's not for me," I'd have no interest in that. A normal person would go away, and that would be the end of it. But this weirdo went on YouTube, looked for someone covering the impressions, and then comes into the chat just to spew nonsense. Like you've not said anything intelligent this entire time. All you're doing is saying trash game, goofy game, saying I just want a free, saying I'm a shill or whatever. You've not said anything intelligent. Specifically, based on your experience, and you're allowed to say this because you're not a public figure, based on your experience playing the alpha what exactly is so trash about the game? What exactly is bad about the game? We saw a bunch of content creators give their full analysis based on actually playing it. So based on your analysis, what is actually bad about the game that you personally have played? Because it was available for free in that closed alpha. And you're so convinced it's bad, and I can't possibly be having an honest opinion. So specifically, what is bad about the game? And what could be better? What could be done better? I'll wait too. Because I have a feeling nothing intelligent is coming. Like it's already a bad sign that he started off his criticism by saying it's bad because IGN hates it. It doesn't look like 10 years of development. That's a nonsense statement. That means nothing. And it doesn't answer my question. The amount of time a game has been in development is irrelevant to how it looks. Development time, if anything, you can say that in terms of performance, but again, the performance isn't bad. Everyone who played it said the performance was smooth. We didn't see any performance issues. So again, specifically based on playing the game, what is wrong with it? It obviously looks good. You may not like the art style, but if you look at the cinematics, the character models are competently done. It looks like a big open world map. So obviously the performance is pretty up to par. Specifically, what about the game based on what you played is bad? And how could you improve it? Don't come back with something stupid like, oh, it doesn't look like they spent 10 years, because they also didn't. They have not been in development for 10 years. I specifically asked you, based on your experience playing the game, what was bad and how could you improve it? Don't get fooled, people. This game's going to be boring. Exactly. So exactly. There's nothing. This is the average Suicide Squad hater. He's literally just a hater. He doesn't actually believe any of this. He just wanted another Batman game. He's not going to have an honest conversation. He's not going to have an honest debate. He can't tell you what's bad about the game, what he liked, because he didn't play it. He didn't look at any really of the gameplay. He didn't pay attention to any of it. He just got mad that it wasn't an Arkham game where you get to play as Batman, and that's the end of it. So now he's just going to go in and troll and harass people who are enjoying the game, because obviously this guy's a loser. He has nothing better to do. It's literally, I don't know what time it is in his time zone, but for me, it's the middle of the day. It's literally like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and homie has literally nothing better to do than to troll a video game that he claims he doesn't like. This is the average Suicide Squad hater. So when you encounter people like this, just understand that, and I just definitively proved they're never going to say anything intelligent. Even when you give them an opportunity, they're not going to take it. I gave him the opportunity to lay out his case for why he didn't like the game, how to improve it, and he didn't take it. So yeah, that tells you all you need to know. It literally tells you all you need to know about these people. People who actually played the game and gave it a chance seem to have enjoyed it, seem to have been surprised by it. The usual suspects who just wanted another Arkham game, don't like it, unsurprised. So if you like what you saw so far, give it a pre-order. If you're not into pre-ordering, wait till launch, wait till it's on sale, do what you want. But if you do pre-order the game, you get to play it 72 hours early, starting on the 30th of January, which is another reason why that whole you're just trying to get a free copy thing is stupid. Even if I got a free copy of Suicide Squad, for one, it's only $70. It's only $70, or an extra 30 if I want to get all the bells and whistles. Also, I'm only going to get like 1 day early access to post it because the review embargo is going to be like on the 29th. So it's not going to make a difference anyway. As long as you get the deluxe edition, you're going to get to play the game early anyway. It's just goofy. Yeah, you buy the deluxe edition, you get a token that you can use to get any season of the battle pass you want, and you get some new skins and stuff. So if you're committed to getting the game, you might as well go just do the pre-order. Yeah, you got the Justice League outfits. You got a lot of interesting outfits. You understand why Boomerang and Shark have guns are. It makes perfect sense if you play the game. But Captain Boomerang, I thought Comic Storian actually did a good job of explaining this, because most people don't actually realize this. But the idea that Captain Boomerang doesn't use guns is actually not true. Captain Boomerang does use guns. He has used guns before. It's not something that he doesn't do in character. It's that boomerangs are just his signature. But in the context of the game, it makes sense because obviously bullets travel further and faster than boomerangs. And you're going to really appreciate having the guns in the game. But also, Captain Boomerang still uses boomerangs. It's his melee attack. It's his traversal attack. It's his takedown, suicide attack. You're still using boomerangs, even though you still also have guns. Wish it was a collector's edition. I'm surprised there's not a collector's edition. They just explained if you're shooting flash anti-speed force bullets, you're getting weapons that are used to take down the Justice League. Yeah, that dude. Just in general, just looking at it, the guns are just going to be convenient and fun. But yeah, he does use boomerangs too. Imagine a collector's edition statue of a corrupt Justice League. Ooh, that would be nice. 19 inches of Justice League. Sign me up. Are the road outfits deluxe or pre-order? Not sure. No, they just dropped the trailer. Looks like it's just a pre-order bonus. Gotta have 19 inches of Justice League. Yeah, I didn't responded to your tweet. Holy, hold up. I gotta see this. You know I love Twitter drama. Let me find Lejeune. I know bro's getting fried for that review. I am petty enough to pull it up. No, not Lejeune roasting the IGN. That might have been the worst review I've ever sat through, bro. That was so bad. Shout out to Lejeune. That's definitely how I felt. That's definitely how I felt listening to the IGN review. I was like, ain't no way, bro just said that. absolutely ain't no way homie really sat there with a straight face and said the Flash fight was annoying because he couldn't hit the Flash. No, that's actually crazy. And Comic Historian actually broke this down. Like, you have the anti-Speed Force bullets that allow you to slow him down, and they're different phases of the fight. He didn't mention any of that in the IGN review. He didn't mention that you can actually slow him down. He didn't mention all the idea. He just said, "Oh man, he's hard to hit." Like, I think Hobie either didn't play that fight at all, or he just rage quit like 5 minutes in because he couldn't figure out what's going on. Bro, that was too funny. Did he quote tweet you? I know people are going to be saying Lejeune got paid. IGN when the Justice League actually posed a threat instead of an easy 1-2-3 combo Lego game. IGN when they can't hit a man with literal super speed. Bro, they are fried IGN. That's like saying the God of War Hemdo fight sucked because he dodged every hit. Bro, IGN is getting fried. Holy. No, everyone just fried IGN. Everybody just fried IGN in the comments. Yeah, he's in the comment. No, not everybody fried IGN. Hey, yo. Oh, here it is. Destin, right? The fight is annoying. I pointed out it makes sense they would do this for the Flash because he's a Scarlet Speedster, but that fight was bad. But go off, I guess. bro's coping. Bro's bad. Bro is so bad. Get ratioed. Get ratioed. A lot of devs actually hate, even more devs than usual hate IGN because they posted those Insomniac hack spoilers. They were just openly posting the leaks like the day it happened. Dropping spoilers. So a bunch of game devs turned on IGN, but bro, I don't know why they keep like instead of sending him out there, they could have sent any number of content creators up there instead of IGN to cover this game. We need to normalize not giving IGN special treatment. Like, fly out content creators. Don't fly out IGN. They don't need it. And they're not going to appreciate it. They're not going to give you great analysis. Fly out someone who's going to actually take the time and give like a full breakdown of the game. Don't send out someone from IGN who's probably just going to trash the game like, and just not offer anything of value. They're awful. Like their takes are just consistently bad. Like, why? Literally send out a random person who has no idea what's going on, fly them out and let them play it and give their impressions, and you would have a better take than IGN. like I don't understand how they keep getting away with this. Like if he thought that was there's actually an even funnier moment from that review than the whole Flash being hard to hit comment. There was an even funnier moment from that. I'm gonna post that on Twitter too. But shout out to everybody who shout out to Jay Shockblast, Lejeune, Uncaged, Caboose, Comic Storian. They all did great jobs on their video. Got a lot of info out of the games. I know there's going to be a lot of conversation happening today. Looking forward to it. After show podcast, we'll have our usual Friday. We might invite some other people who got to play the game if they want to come in and talk. But we're going to be going into more detail about Suicide Squad on Friday on the podcast. That's exclamation mark podcast. Join the after show podcast. Subscribe. It's a good time. I'm looking forward to trying out the game again. How would I feel if the Teen Titans become season bosses? The Teen Titans, that would be fire. Appreciate your time, please. So, and I mentioned this earlier, but there's going to be an Xbox Direct where they're going to show off the Indiana Jones game. I'll probably stream that as well. I'm fair. But in the meantime, I'm going to get out here. Appreciate everyone. Go subscribe to everybody that we checked out if you haven't already. I'll have some more videos on Suicide Squad coming